Good evening, everyone,
Good evening.
and welcome to the panel discussion on science of learning in organization. I would request everyone to keep your mobile phone on silent. I would like to give up the floor to Shri for the welcome address.
Good evening all.
Good evening.
આજના પેનલ ડિસ્કશનમાં પધારેલા વક્તાશ્રીઓ રિલાયન્સ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી લિમિટેડના HR વિભાગના જનરલ મેનેજર શ્રી ઝુબિનભાઈ તોડીવાલા, L&T હેવી એન્જિનિયરિંગના HR વિભાગના જનરલ મેનેજર શ્રી મનીષભાઈ ગૌર, શ્રી રામકૃષ્ણ એક્સપોર્ટ પ્રાઇવેટ લિમિટેડના શ્રી નીરવભાઈ મંદિર, પેનલ ડિસ્કશનના મોડરેટરની ભૂમિકામાં સુપર અદા કરી રહેલા શ્રી મૃણાલભાઈ શુક્લા, ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન શ્રી દીપકભાઈ સેટવાલા, ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન શ્રી સંજયભાઈ, ચિરાગભાઈ તથા અન્ય કમિટી મેમ્બરો તથા અહીં સૌ પધારેલ શ્રોતાજીઓ, આજના સાયન્સ ઓફ લર્નિંગ ઇન ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશન વિષય પર આયોજિત પેનલ ડિસ્કશનમાં આપ સૌનું હું હાર્દિકપૂર્વક સ્વાગત કરું છું. મિત્રો, સદન ગુજરાત ચેમ્બર એન્ડ કોમર્સ એન્ડ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી છેલ્લા 82 વર્ષથી કાર્યરત સંસ્થા છે, જે ટ્રેડ અને ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી માટે ખૂબ જ પ્રયત્નશીલ છે. સદન ગુજરાત ચેમ્બર ઓફ કોમર્સ એન્ડ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીના ટોટલ 10,500 જેટલા ડાયરેક્ટ મેમ્બર્સ છે અને 140 જેટલી અલગ અલગ સંસ્થાઓ થકી 1 લાખથી પણ વધુ ઇનડાયરેક્ટ મેમ્બરો જોડાયેલા છે. આ સંસ્થા કાયમ જ ઘણા બધા એક્ઝિબિશન્સ કરતી આવી છે, ઘણા બધા કોન્ક્લેવ્સ કરે છે અને ઘણા બધા સેમિનાર્સ, જેમાં આજે ઉપસ્થિત છો એવા ઘણા બધા સેમિનાર્સ કરતી રહે છે. ચેમ્બર પાસે મૃણાલભાઈ શુક્લા, દીપકભાઈ, સંજયભાઈ જેવા ડાયમંડ્સ છે, જેને કારણે આવા બધા પ્રોગ્રામો કાયમ સતત રહે છે અને 365 દિવસમાંથી કદાચ 265 દિવસ આવા બધા પ્રોગ્રામો થતા રહે છે. જો ટ્રેડ અને ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં જો તમે જોડાયા હો તો ચેમ્બરના મેમ્બર ચોક્કસ હોવા જોઈએ. અહીં ઘણા ચેમ્બરના મિત્રો છે, પણ ઘણા ગેસ્ટ આવ્યા છે જેઓ ચેમ્બર સાથે કદાચ નહીં જોડાયા હોય તો મારો સૌને અનુરોધ છે કે આપ ચોક્કસ ચેમ્બર સાથે જોડાઓ. મિત્રો, આજનો વિષય છે સાયન્સ ઓફ લર્નિંગ ઇન ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશન. મિત્રો, શીખવાની કોઈ ઉંમર હોતી નથી અને જ્ઞાન હંમેશા વેચવાથી જ વધે છે અને જ્ઞાન પીસાસુ જગતના કોઈ પણ ખૂણેથી મળતા શિક્ષણને મેળવવા હંમેશા તત્પર રહે છે. આ જ વાત કંપની કે સંસ્થા માટે પણ એટલી જ લાગુ પડે છે. જ્યારે સંસ્થા કે કંપનીના જોડાયેલા અધિકારીઓ કે કર્મચારીઓ કંઈક નવું શીખવાની જિજ્ઞાસા કેળવે છે, ત્યારે જ સાચા અર્થમાં એનો વિકાસ થાય છે. કૂપમંડૂકોની જેમ એક નાનકડા કવચને દુનિયા સમજી તેમાંથી બહાર નીકળવાનો જેવો પ્રયત્ન નથી કરતા અથવા તો તેમની કોઈ તૈયારી જ નથી હોતી, એવી માનસિકતા અંતે તો સંસ્થા માટે ઘાતક જ નીવડે છે. આજે જ્યારે વિશ્વ દર બીજી સેકન્ડે કશુંક નવું મેળવવું છે, કશુંક નવું આપી રહ્યું છે, ત્યારે એ નવું મેળવવાની જિજ્ઞાસા, તલબ અને તૈયારી હોવી એ પણ એટલી જ જરૂરી છે. આજે આપણી વચ્ચે આજના વિષયના ત્રણ માંધાતાઓ તેમના વિચારો અને અનુભવોનું ભાથું લઈને ઉપસ્થિત છે, આપણે કંઈક નવું પીરસવા માટે. હવે આપણા પક્ષે જાણવાનું રહ્યું કે તેમની આપવાની તૈયારી સામે આપણે ઝીલવાની અને બચાવવાની આપણી કેટલી તૈયારી છે. તો મિત્રો, આ સરસ વિષયને ધ્યાનમાં લઈ આયોજિત આજની પેનલ ડિસ્કશનમાં આપ સૌનો વધુ સમય ન લેતા ફરી એકવાર હું આપ સૌનું સ્વાગત કરું છું. જય હિન્દ, જય ગુજરાત.
Thank you, Bhaveshbhai. I would like to request our Honorary Secretary, Shri Bhaveshbhai, for the floral felicitation and presentation of memento to Shri Zubin Todiwala. Now I would request Shri Mrunal Shukla. I would request Shri Mrunal Shukla and Deepakbhai Shetwala to present the felicitation and memento to Shri Manish Gour. also like to invite Chirag Bhai Desai for presenting the memento and the floral felicitation of Dr. Nirav Mandir. Thank you, everyone. I would like to invite Shri Bipin Hirpara, co-chairman of HR and Training Committee, for the introduction of our speaker, Shri Zubin Todiwala.
Good evening. It is in fact a pride and privilege for me to introduce today's panelist, Mr. Zubin Todiwala, MBA HR, has over 3 decades of experience in field of HR. He is instrumental in driving many HR related initiatives within the organization like PMS, C&B, competency assurance, training, and contributed significantly toward the streamlining HR services in the organization, starting from commissioning stage to steady stage. He was also a part of core committee driving HR transformation journey in the organization. He is qualified IMS auditor as well as lead for operating management system. Before coming back to Hazira, he was leading HR department at Reliance site Silvassa, and his contribution was remarkable considering the COVID phase. He led various initiatives and schemes mainly from sustainability as well as productivity point of view. With this, please join me with big round of applause to welcome Zubin Todiwala.
Thank you, Bipin Bhai, for the wonderful introduction. I would now like to call Shri Sanjay Bhai Gajiwala, Group Chairman, for the introduction of our speaker, Shri Manish.
Good evening, everyone. I take this opportunity in introducing a gentleman whom one would love to idolize. A person who believes in walk the talk, we just had a talk just now, and a thorough gentleman. Yes, he is Mr. Manish Gour, presently working as the General Manager and Head Human Resource and Organizational Excellence at Larsen and Toubro Heavy Engineering Division at Hazira, Surat. He is a science graduate and has done his post-graduation in HR MBA from Pune University. He is a man with a rich professional experience of 34 plus years in human resource. He has worked with both multinational companies and Indian organizations with corporate and manufacturing experience in heavy engineering, rail transportation, power projects, earth moving equipment, cycle, food, transformers, mining equipment, industrials, and many more. The wide spectrum of his work includes having worked as a technocrat to establish 2 greenfield projects in highly sensitive geographical locations. He has managed 10 wage settlements in a multi-unit and multi-union environment. He has got a very rich experience in managing transition across 4 merger acquisitions and has worked in multi-unit, highly matrixed organizations. This highly talented personality is having a very high proficiency in organizational development, training and development, talent acquisition, compensation and benefits, employee engagement, general administration and compliances. He has experience in bringing about structural changes in the organization and is an expert on few psychometric tools, training and change management. Prior to L&T, he was non-executive director on the board of directors of Alstom Transport. Earlier, he had been a global director HR for Alstom Power Bills, Director HR for Boiler India, Alstom, and Director HR for Steel Business, Alstom India. His work experience includes good and known companies like JCB India, Atlas Cycles, SM Dicom Food Division, Crompton Greaves Limited Transformer Division, and Gour India Limited Engineering Division. His work engagement being global gave him an exposure to managing HR assignments across France, Switzerland, Germany, China, US, Czech Republic, Malaysia, and many more. With this, please welcome our today's guest, Mr. Manish.
Thank you संजय भाई. Now I would like to take the privilege, क्योंकि मैंने ये मांग के लिया है इनका इंट्रोडक्शन देना. मैं उनको फॉलो कर रहा हूँ पिछले कई सालों से. अचीवमेंट्स कई सारे हैं उनके. थोड़े बहुत अचीवमेंट कहना चाहूँगा कि he has achieved his post doctoral fellowship from South Korea, a PhD from the USA, advanced HRM from IIM, MPhil, postgraduate diploma in industrial safety and environment management, MSW, LLB special and BSc physics. He has published 6 HR, IR, HSC related research papers in various national and international journals. He is also certified lead auditor for ISO standards, that is 9001, 45001 and 27001. There are many more achievements, but as we are out of time, I would like to proceed ahead with the work. He is recognized for his untiring work with the prestigious awards in his HR journey. Awarded for excellence in teaching and training 2001 by ISTD. Youngest HR Professional of the Year 2018 by National Institute of Personnel Management. 100 Top HR Minds India 2018 by Times Ascent. Most Influential HR Leaders in India 2016 by World HRD Congress. The honorary commitments include Life Member Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Life Member and Member Managing Committee ISTD Surat Chapter, Member of Institute of Directors, Member Executive Council SRK Knowledge Foundation, Senior Member NHRD and South Gujarat Chapter, Senior Member NIPM South Surat Chapter, Advisory Board Member Unified Brains of India, Advisory Board Member Future and Knowledge Singapore, and many more. I would like to express my gratitude in the form of 2 lines of my Hindi शायरी. ये सादगी ये अपनेपन की मूरत ना देखी, ये सादगी ये अपनेपन की मूरत ना देखी. किरदार तो बहुत सारे देखे जमाने में, किरदार तो बहुत सारे देखे जमाने में, पर आप जैसी शख्सियत ना देखी. I would like to welcome Dr. Nirav Mandir. Thank you to myself for giving the wonderful introduction. I will.
You can invite him to dinner so that there also he can perform.
I would like to again call our co-chairman Shri ji for introduction of moderator and my mentor Shri Mrunal Shukla.
Thank you, Vishal bhai. તો બધા જાણે જ છે, આપને સારી રીતે ઓળખે છે. મુનલભાઈ શુક્લા ચેમ્બરના ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન અને જે કમિટીના બેનર નીચે આ પ્રોગ્રામ થઈ રહ્યો છે એમના ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન છે મુનલભાઈ શુક્લા. 2.5 દાયકાથી વધારે સમયથી ટ્રેનિંગ ફિલ્ડ સાથે સંકળાયેલા છે. કોર્પોરેટ ટ્રેનર, બિઝનેસ ડેવલપમેન્ટ કન્સલ્ટન્ટ. એમની ફર્મ, એમના ફાઉન્ડર ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ પ્રીવાઇઝર, અને એમના કેટલાક પ્રોગ્રામ્સનું શોર્ટમાં નામ આપી દઉં તો લીડરશિપ ઇનસાઇટ, Train the trainers, presentation art, reach at the top, मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा જેવા અનેક નામથી ટ્રેનિંગ પ્રોગ્રામ્સ કરે છે. અને એમના ક્લાયન્ટ્સ જાયન્ટ્સ કોર્પોરેટ સુરત કે આજુબાજુના ક્ષેત્રના ઇન્ડિયાના અતુલ બેકરી, અરવિંદ, DLF, ધર્મનંદન ડાયમંડ, CNFC, GD ગોયંકા, CM, Z Blue, कला मंदिर, लक्ष्मीपति, मोतीलाल पोसवाल, NTPC, SRK, VZ and Welspun. આવા બધા ક્લાયન્ટને અમને સર્વ કર્યું છે. With this, please welcome મુનાલભાઈ શુક્લા as the moderator.
Thank you, Bipin bhai. Now the floor we are giving to Shri Mrunal Shukla.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
very distinguished dais. We have very learned three panelists. We have with us
Often on the line.
often on the dais. Correct. Bhavesh Bhai Taylor, Chairman and Honorary Secretary. Shri Zubin Bhai Todiwala, Shri Manish Bhai Gour, and my dear friend Dr. Nirav Mandir. Group Chairman Deepak Bhai Todiwala, Sanjay Gajewala, Co-Chairman HR Safety Committee Chirag Desai, Committee Member Vikin Girpara and Vishal Bhai and Sanjay Patel, and all our guests who are here for this panel discussion. मुझे लगता है कि हिंदी में बात किया जाए वो सही रहेगा या हिंदी, इंग्लिश, गुजराती, हिंदी किया जाए। ऑलराइट, ये आज का जो हमारा ये जो इनिशिएटिव है, आप सब जानते हैं कि पिछले करीबन 5 साल से हम नेशनल एचआर कॉन्क्लेव रेगुलरली करते हैं। बीच में 2 साल ये कोरोना के लिए निकल चुके, लेकिन ये इनिशिएटिव जो है वो चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स के लिए ये एचआर कॉन्क्लेव वो फ्लैगशिप इवेंट है। जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे कि 28 जनवरी वी विल बी हैविंग वन मोर एचआर कॉन्क्लेव। तो ये सूरत में एचआर कॉन्क्लेव करना, एचआर पे सेमिनार करना, पैनल डिस्कशन करना, ये आज हमारा ये तीसरा प्रयास है। इससे पहले 2 हमने पैनल डिस्कशन किए हैं। ये हमारा आज का जो इनिशिएटिव है उनमें हम आपके साथ जो बात करना चाहते हैं, मैं आप लोग आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा कि मैं तीनों तज्ञ वक्ताओं से ये गुजारिश करूंगा कि पहले आप 5 या 7 मिनट में, मैक्सिमम 7 मिनट आप अपनी बात को साइंस ऑफ लर्निंग इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ये सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर आप अपनी बात रखेंगे। आप तीनों कॉर्पोरेट लीडर्स हैं, तो आपकी बातें और हमारे प्रश्न हमारे ऑडियंस के और मॉडरेटर के सवाल आपके सामने रखेंगे। वैसे देखा जाए तो आज का जो टॉपिक है साइंस ऑफ लर्निंग इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। हमेशा एचआर फ्रेटर्निटी ये कहती है कि सीखना वो निरंतर है। विशाल भाई ने भी कहा कि भाई निरंतर सीखते रहना वो जरूरी है। हमारे डायमंड इंडस्ट्री के माता सऊदी भाई तोलकिया ने तो एक सूत्र अपने यहाँ लगाया है, लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज एन अर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। जो कमाना चाहता है उसे सीखना वो जरूरी है। प्री कोविड और पोस्ट कोविड ये बातों को अगर हम समझने का प्रयास करें तो काफी बदलाव हुआ है। वैसे देखा जाए तो 21st सेंचुरी में काफी बदलाव हुआ है, लेकिन खास करके ये साइंस ऑफ लर्निंग में काफी बदलाव हुआ है। एक इकोसिस्टम डेवलप हुई है या हो रही है, जिनके बारे में हम आज बात करना चाहते हैं। बहुत सारे नए जार्गन भी आए हैं, मून लाइटिंग एंड गीग इकोनॉमी एंड आप कॉर्पोरेट लीडर्स हैं, तो आपसे ये जानने के लिए हम सब इच्छुक हैं। मैं बारी बारी से गुजारिश करूंगा आप तीनों वक्ताओं को कि आप बात की शुरुआत करें। ओपनिंग में कौन उतरेगा? अभी तो सूर्या स्काई सबसे ओपनिंग कौन करेगा? हम ओपनिंग की बात करेंगे तो हम रोहित शर्मा या के राहुल को याद नहीं करेंगे। हमारा मतलब है ओपनिंग यानी जॉस बटलर, यंगेस्ट शुड कम फर्स्ट, ऐसा है। तो मैं गुजारिश करूंगा डॉक्टर नीरव मंदिर को कि आप अपनी बात आज के टॉपिक के ऊपर आप रखें। क्वेश्चन आंसर हम तीनों वक्ताओं के प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद में अंत में हम देंगे। Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Ronald bhai, and it's a privilege and proud to be among all of your guests, sir. Yeah. I hope I'm audible at the back. Yeah, thank you. So thank you very much to all of you for having us here. My senior members of the fellow HR fraternity, Manish ji, Zubin bhai, my mentor, my friend philosopher guide, Nirav bhai, Chirag bhai, Vishal bhai, Sanjay bhai, and the members who I'm not been able to recognize. So, as Ralbhai rightly stated, that we are sorry. So, in the interest of the larger group, जो Ralbhai ने बताया, he talked about 21st century. From 21st century की बात करें, and I could not refrain myself to quote Alvin Toffler. Very wisely mentioned, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but will be those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. Simple उनका इंसुलेट मैं करूं कि 21st century में we can't avoid what is happening around. हम ये नहीं avoid कर सकते कि हमारे आसपास क्या चल रहा है. He talked about the pre-COVID and post-COVID scenario. Now, even the world is struggling with the challenges of the Russia and Ukraine war. We don't have to do anything as Indians. We don't have to do anything. But still, my own industry, I'm talking about the diamond industry, has suffered almost for 6 months due to the supply and shortage of the rough diamond which is coming from Russia, and still a burning issue. So, despite of not having active engagement into the geopolitical scenario, हमें ये challenge आ रही है. So we cannot avoid that what is happening around us. तो टॉपलर साहब ने बहुत अच्छे से बताया था कि जो भी organization है, if organization was to thrive, has to grow within that space, that sector, तो organization को भी नया चीजें try करनी पड़ेगी, नई practices अमल में लानी पड़ेगी, because जो हमारे कल की challenges थी और जो आने वाली challenges है वो दोनों same नहीं है. So we cannot have to do correlation कि जो solution हमने कल apply किया था वही solution आज हमें काम आएगा और कल कोई दूसरी challenge हमें मिलेगी. So we really have to be mindful enough to understand the challenges. Or learning is a kind of a thing, especially in 21st century, that learning new things even won't be a solution. What I personally feel, I may be wrong, but what is required, the continuous learning and continuously exploring the new ways of learning new things. That is much required in the science. Because हम सिर्फ learning लेके बैठे रहेंगे, then we will be like a frog in the well. But if we really want to make ourselves more erudite, more knowledgeable, then we should be also finding the new ways of learning. In simple lines, whenever we are learning anything, it gives creativity to the mind. Whenever we are doing any creative thing in our action, it brings the innovative thinking in our life. When any innovative thinking happens within our mindset, it provides the knowledge within the time frame. And once you gain knowledge, it brings the greatness, whether it's the individual persona or it's the organization persona. So it's a golden sutra. There might be a many golden secret sauce for the success and the becoming more, again gaining more name and fame. But in the context of the individual as well as in the context of the organization, if really we want to be bigger, if we really want to be grown enough exponentially, then we should be having and leverage the science of learning within the organization. And that's my opening remarks. I'll touch upon the topic in the course of time. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Nirav. You have touched some very important aspect of learning, and you emphasized on learn to grow, problems and solutions. Continuous learning also you emphasized. New ways of learning. Fine. During our course of question and answer, we will definitely put some questions before you. Now we move forward to Shri. Can we go this way? Zubin by Todiwala is very good at Gujarati also. I heard him in cabin. He spoke Gujarati also very well. From Pashiko. Zubin by Todiwala, GM HR, Reliance Industries Ltd. આપણા સૌની તાળીઓ વચ્ચે
Just to add what my friend Dr. Nirav that important is that, even I agree with what Nirav Bhai said, that you need to learn, unlearn, that we all know. But the important for me, the way I look at the overall thing, how organization supports this is very vital. The major thing which I have seen, अरे भाई ट्रेनिंग छे करो, અને ટ્રેનિંગ કરવાની છે because of the development. There is a vast difference between the mindsets. So my feeling, my take for all these, whoever is in the organization or who is connected with the organization, my first thing is we as an organization should be committed for this. If organization is not committed, it is, I am telling you, my colleague Raju is here, we work together, it is a paper work. So first thing, let's as an organization commit. Now again, the way we operate, I mean especially the training part, how we do it, we need to keep on changing. We are doing it today in our organization, so I am telling you the actual experience with you. You may have some training couple of years back, but today that training is not valid. The methodology is not valid. You will have to change it. Yes, again, any change which comes to an employee is a problem. He will always say, sir, I can't see how So, as an organization, as an HR or as an L&D, this also is a major task for us. When we say or play a role of a change agent, these things matter a lot. So first, my take is, as an organization, my management has to be committed. The second, how will I drive this change? For us, it is very important, especially the HR fraternity. How will I drive this change? And then there are many things which we may discuss when we take in the course of the discussion. Then there are certain issues related to the governance, there are certain issues related to the effectiveness of the training, that all will come when we discuss. But my first opening comment which I would like to complete here, this is this. Thank you. That's it.
Sir, it is very precise and very to the point and effective, I think. आपने बात की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का सपोर्ट और कमिटमेंट फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्रेनिंग एंड मेथोडोलॉजी के बारे में आपने कहा। यहाँ बहुत सारे ट्रेनर भी बैठे हुए हैं, जहाँ जहाँ मेरी नज़र पहुँच रही है वहाँ ट्रेनर हैं। और ये जो आपने ये पुश द राइट बटन
and implement.
And sir, implementation part. Sir, we are indeed very happy to put before you last week, since 14th to 19th, we had one initiative of movie-based training under the auspices of the Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Daily, Monday to Saturday, between 6 and 8, we were getting together, wonderful audience. We touched few movies like Ek Ruka Hua Faisla. Sanjay Patel delivered on it. Chirag Bhai Desai delivered. Chirag Bhai is also a trainer. He delivered on Badmash Company. Badhai Ho on relationship. Inside Out on emotional balance. Why only movies? Why not? Movies को भी IPL के दौरान लोग रिलीज नहीं करते हैं, क्योंकि क्रिकेट का फीवर होता है, वो ज़रा TRP ले जाता है, तो why not क्रिकेट? महेंद्र सिंह धोनी के ऊपर भी हमारा डिस्कशन हुआ। तो ये मेथोडोलॉजी की बात जो आपने कही है वो बिल्कुल है। और ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ माय कलीग्स हु आर इन ट्रेनिंग, स्पेशली सूरत, साउथ गुजराती कॉर्पोरेट की बात आती है तो सूरत से थोड़ा बाहर हमारा नजर जाता है कि ट्रेनर जो मुंबई से आते हैं या दिल्ली से या बेंगलोर से आते हैं, लेकिन सूरत में भी इनोवेशन हो रहा है। और मेथोडोलॉजी की बात आपने की, और आप आए उससे पहले हम डिस्कशन कर रहे थे, ये मेरा लंबा हो रहा है, मैं शॉर्ट कर देता हूँ। ये बात हो रही थी अभी कुछ समय पहले SR के फाउंडेशन ने एक कार्यक्रम किया था, वो गीता के ऊपर डेक्कन यूनिवर्सिटी से बुलाए फैकल्टी आए थे, और वही इनिशिएटिव हम भी करना चाहते हैं। अभी हम बात कर रहे थे कि भाई गीता का 2-2 अध्याय लेके अभी के समय में जो लीडरशिप और मैनेजमेंट की बातें हैं उससे कैसे हम रख सकें, तो ये बातें So I'm very happy to put this my thoughts before you. Now I request Manish by Gour, General Manager and Head HR and OE, Larsen and Toubro Limited, Heavy Engineering IC. Sir, please enlighten us on this topic.
Thank you. So I'm proud to represent my company, the name of which is also synonymous to learning and training. So, when we look at the science of learning, should I bring it closer? Or I should go closer?
I think this is better.
So when I look at the science of learning in organizations, so this is something that constantly challenges us to think how we need to be more valid as we move into the new generation Z coming in. So pandemic also taught us a lot and things changed at that point of time. In L&T we are quite structured in terms of the various developmental programs that the people have to go through. Earlier we were not so extensive on the GET or PGET training programs and JET programs, but we realized that it is becoming more scientific now and we really need to lead them from campus to corporate. So that particular mindset of coming out of the college atmosphere and then coming into a more serious organizational environment, so it really creates a lag for a number of people and they take time to get settled into that. So this is one area we have started delving upon more now. And earlier there was a scenario where these trainees, the freshers, were allowed to go for management programs after a few years, after they have completed a few years in the organization and have actually demonstrated a potential in the organization. So this has started to change because now when I talked about Generation C, I'll continuously emphasize on that things have changed. They are not patient. So if you are talking to them that you are going to support them for a management program after 5 years, that they are not going to remain. The attrition happens fast and the great resignation all of you know. Where we used to normally have an attrition of less than 10%, we are already hitting 20%. And in the manufacturing organization, and this is not an IT organization I am talking about. So this the change that has happened immediately after the pandemic. During the pandemic, the training mode changed first to digital. When it was a little lighter, then came the concept of digital. So these were things that got evolved and changed because of the changing scenario. We have 7 steps of leadership which a person has to undergo. And these are such steps which take you through the institutes like London Business School, Harvard Business School, INSEAD and others. In India, SP Jain and IIM Ahmedabad. And the engineers or the people those who are demonstrating that high potential get to involve in these kind of programs. Now one may say that, okay, if a person has to study, then the age would be better if it is up to 40 to 45 years of age. So some of you who would have an exposure to Thomas assessments, so they have got a analysis on intelligence where they say that after 48 people don't learn. But in our organization, we see that people after 48 are doing the best of the courses. So even me, I had attended a program a few months back run by INSEAD for a few months. So these kind of things are there, going on, and they have clearly the belief underlined that if you have people in your organization and if you want these people to be capable to lead the reins of the organization, then you have to bring them up. And that is the science. You have to bring them up, and that is where when the person sees merit that the organization is supporting his growth and his knowledge development and enhancement, that the people think that, okay, this is where I would like to grow, live and retire. So this is the philosophy that we have been practicing for years. The change that is coming up fast on this is that, again coming back to Generation Z, people want to be in topmost positions in 10 years' time and not at the age of 55. So now how do you handle that? So that is the challenge. Discussions we are having again and again and brainstorming, and we have this situation where we find a lot of leadership team not able to understand how we will have to change. You would have recently read a news article coming from Hindustan Unilever which said that they have done away with their listership program, which was there for so many years, and now because they are unable to conform to the new engineers or new management trainees that in 10 years time they will be able to take up the positions. So they thought that perhaps they will have to rethink this program, and that is not working out now. So these kind of things, these kind of changes constantly are there. Then the tie-ups with the institutes, that is becoming vital for skill development, whether it is technical skill or whether it is behavioral skills. And we have just, for our unit here in Hajira, we tied up with MSU Baroda, we tied up with BITS Pelani, then we are progressing with a discussion with IIT Kharagpur on different areas. So that is becoming important. Mentoring and coaching is becoming important. Mentoring is something that we are going through a wave 4 right now, so which means that an yearly wave from 2018 onwards. Coaching coming out of development centers, assessment centers, and what kind of coaching, who should be the coach, what should be the time, and those things are being constantly pursued. Development centers have provided us quite deep insights on who would be the right people for different leadership levels. So there are development centers at almost 4 levels, so we call it DC 1, 2, 3, 4, and being run at different levels as such. So altogether, actually, this is an entire environment being created for learning for the people. And this environment is also seeing a drastic change, and if you are not alive to that, then that is where perhaps it will be difficult for the organization to sustain. So that is what I think is the science of learning as we understand. So we are also learning with this, and it is just not stopping, so it continues. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Manish ji. आपने भी ये बात कही कि भाई लर्न, अनलर्न, रीलर्न, एक और शब्द भी जुड़ा है कि लीड, उसके बाद में आप लीड कर सकते हैं। हम जो यहाँ पे बात अभी कर रहे हैं वो बात है कॉर्पोरेट में जो हो रहा है। परफेक्ट, कॉर्पोरेट में जो हो रहा है वही एमएसएमई लेना चाहेगा, लेकिन मैं आपसे ये सवाल करना चाहूंगा कि भाई एमएसएमई के लिए बहुत सारी मीट है यहाँ पे बातों के लिए कि भाई लर्निंग, आप कई हद तक आप लोगों ने दुनिया भर में ट्रैवल किया है, योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सपोर्टेड यू टू स्पेंड गुड अमाउंट फॉर इट, लेकिन एमएसएमई के लिए ये हमेशा बात रहती है कि भाई कितना बजट होना चाहिए, क्यों ये होना चाहिए। हमने जिसको रिक्रूट किया है तो उसको हमने इंटरव्यू के दौरान तो हमने देख लिया है, फिर अभी और उसके पीछे ट्रेनिंग का खर्चा वगैरह करना है, तो एमएसएमई का जो प्रश्न है वो अलग है। तो उनके बारे में आप क्या कहना है? मैंने प्रोफाइल देखा है तो बहुत सारे यहाँ पे एमएसएमई ज्यादा है, तो ये आपको उनको ये एड्रेस करना है कि भाई कैसे ये ट्रेनिंग लर्निंग कैसे हो सकता है, कैसे प्लान हो सकता है।
देखिए, आप आदमी तो लेते हो with interview knowledge. There is one skill set which is required at that point of time. Now, obviously, when you move ahead, when you, as an organization, you grow, as an organization, you move, आपको कहीं ना कहीं शायद आपको as an HO, मतलब sorry HOD बोलूँ, but as an owner or whatever you are, maybe an HR guy, you will have to assess if I am having a person with this sort of a capability, my going forward, I need the capability of this particular level. You may not take your 100% staff on that training. I know because of your limitation of budget and all that. But at least those, like what we do in our organization, there are certain trainings which are very specific to everyone. And there are certain trainings which are very specific to high performance. तो आप उसमें से आपके, अगर आपके पास कोई ऐसा इवैल्यूएशन मेथड है, तो आप उसमें से छांट लो कि अगर मेरे पास 500 आदमी है, वो 500 में से मेरे 50 आदमी सो कॉल्ड माय फ्यूचर लीडर है, या सो कॉल्ड मेरे को आई सी अ पोटेंशियल ऑफ दिस पीपल ग्रोइंग इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, तो उसको आप लेके उसके अगेंस्ट, अभी वो टेक्निकल हो सकता है या नॉन टेक्निकल। अभी मैं टेक्निकल नॉन टेक्निकल मतलब मैं आपको भी, मैं अपनी भाषा बोल रहा हूँ, बट टेक्निकली इज बेसिकली पर्सन हु डज एक्चुअली दिस वर्क इन द प्लांट। वी आर ऑल फ्रॉम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, ये शायद थोड़ा सेमी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से, ये इज प्योरली मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। तो आप देख लो कि टेक्निकल में से जो बंदा आपका आ रहा है, नाउ व्हाट टाइप ऑफ स्किल ही मे बी अ गुड टेक्नोक्रेट, बट यू नीड टू ग्रो हिम एज अ लीडर, यू वांट टू मेक हिम एज एन एचओडी, तो आप वो देख लो। आप एक मान लो मैं प्रोडक्शन मैनेजर हूँ या एक शिफ्ट सुपरिटेंडेंट हूँ, तो मेरे पास एक एडिक्वेट नॉलेज रहेगा टेक्निकल पार्ट का। अब आप मेरे को टेक्निकली नॉलेज देते रहोगे, इट मे नॉट बी अ राइट थिंग। Rather, you see me as a HOD of tomorrow of this particular plant, then you give me a technical, a soft skill training to become a leader. The same way, if you see that भाई एक छोटा आदमी है, example you take an example shift engineer person, where you see something where he is lacking, and you see जहाँ ये 5 साल या 7 साल के बाद, I agree with Manish ji, आज का जो जनरेशन है वो थोड़ा तकलीफदायक है, they don't want to wait for a longer duration. That is again a challenge itself for all the organization, to be very honest, because we have GTs, you also have GTs, but their retention is always a concern because they don't want to work in shifts. That is the biggest problem. Shift मतलब rotate. सुबह 6 बजे से रात को 2 बजे, दोपहर को 2 बजे, 2 बजे से रात को 10 बजे, वो वाली शिफ्ट में उनको काम नहीं करना है। That is a fact of life also. But that's a different challenge. I am moving away from my original topic. So आप उसको एक लिमिटेड वे में लीजिए, and yes, जो उसके ऊपर और भी डिस्कशन हो सकता है, I will cut short here. But then you supposing you identified some mass of population, वो sum of mass of population के ऊपर ही आप concentrate करके देखिए. I am telling you with my experience in the industry, and I am sure my colleagues will also agree, you will definitely see a change in that person. 100% change in that person. हमने तो देखे हैं, those who have come fresh from the college, after some technical expertise as well as this, they have become good leaders. It is just, जैसे मैंने पहले बोला कि ओनर मतलब ओनर बोलो, मैनेजमेंट बोलो, आपको कितना करना है? You identify some population, keep them on training, continuously monitor them. अगर मैं थोड़ा और रूट जाऊं तो you can even थिंक ऑफ समथिंग कि अगर मेरा आदमी ये छोड़ के चला जाएगा तो मेरे लिए ये नुकसान है. थिंक ऑफ पेइंग समथिंग मे बी एज अ रिटेंशन समथिंग जो हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन करती है. मे बी आपके लिए नया टर्मिनोलॉजी होगा कि भाई तू 2 साल रुकेगा तो मैं तेरे को तेरा इसकी तरह में सैलरी 100 रुपया मैं उसको 110 कर दूँ. तो दीज थिंग्स कैन बी थॉट ऑफ बिकॉज यू आर गोइंग टू स्पेंड. हम स्पेंड करते हमारा तो वो आदमी निकल भी जाएगा तो हमको इतना नहीं दिखेगा. बट आप ऑब्वियसली आपका अगर बजट 5 लाख रुपया है और उसके सामने आपने किसी के सामने 20,000 रुपया खर्च किया है और वो आदमी चला जाएगा तो इट इज समथिंग अ ह्यूज अमाउंट फॉर यू एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. सो दीज आर द वेज यू कैन मैनेज. दिस इज माय पॉइंट.
तो हमारे मन में सवाल होते हैं कि आपने जवाब ऑलरेडी दे दिया कि भाई ये एट्रिशन रेशियो बहुत होता है और ऐसा लगता है कि भाई हमने जिस बंदे के पीछे खर्च किया है 20,000 नहीं 2 लाख का भी खर्च लोग करते हैं और वही छोड़ के चला जाता है. उनको एक नॉलेज स्किल मिल जाता है और वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उसके लिए अगर उसका ये नॉलेज और स्किल बड़ा है तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कई बार ऐसा होता है. मैं एमएसएमई की बात कर रहा हूँ कि वो कैंडिडेट को ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं दे सकती है. तो वो ट्रेनिंग करने के बाद ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की तरफ से या कैंडिडेट की तरफ से, लेकिन वो बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म कई बार नहीं दे सकती है तो उसकी वजह से वो आदमी वहां से निकल जाता ही होता है. लेकिन मेरा सवाल अभी नीरव भाई को रहेगा. मैं समझता हूँ कि 365 डेज में से करीबन आधे दिन तो नीरव भाई आप बाहर होते हैं. तो आप बाहर किस चीज के लिए होते हो, ये मेरा सीधा सवाल है.
Thank you very much for putting me into the gray area, Mohan bhai. तो सीधे सवाल का मैं कॉम्प्लेक्स आंसर दूंगा.
तो मैं आपको सवाल दूंगा.
तो मनीष जी ने बताया, सुबीन जी ने भी वही बात दोहराई कि as an organization, we are for a instance we are not thinking about a large sector MSME or a medium-sized company, but what is more important, especially when you are running the MSMEs, when you are the promoters, the owners, and the proprietors of the MSME, I think we should get rid of one kind of a myth, and that myth is when you are investing anything for your staff, for the employees, as far as their training, development, their growth is concerned, it's a cost. So if you are considering that particular activity as a cost center, फिर Zubin भाई ने बताया कि that would only be remain on the books then. So what really needs to done is you look that particular activity as part of your investment towards your employees. Now you say suppose I am investing something, and if after that particular investment that person would leave, then what about my investment? So I talk about my company. When I joined SRK in 2008, the average attrition rate at SRK was around 12%. Industry average at that time was around 18 to 20%. You'd be glad to know that still the industry average, the attrition rate within the industry, even as of now, is 10 to 12%. Since last more than 7 years, we have maintained the attrition rate of less than 1%, 0.75%. And that is all about the commitment. Zubin bhai ne bhi yahi bataya. It has to come from top. Whether your leadership is supportive enough that you are investing in your talent, you are retaining your talent, and within the time, when many of you might have heard of Gour Kaka, and he says in his speech also, who is the chairman and founder of SRK Group, in 2008 there was a global recession. The companies were laying off the people. आपने 1-2 दिन में news पढ़ा होगा, almost 50% of the employees being fired directly, indirectly by Twitter. Amazon has already said that they will be doing a huge cost cutting, especially laying off the employees. There was a time in 2008 when, despite of having the very bad recession within the James and jewelry industry, we were the only company we didn't fire a single employee by any means. There was a lockdown. There are many companies, good companies, we appreciate their best practices. But coming from the diamond industry, we were the only one who paid the full salaries to their employees during the lockdown. We didn't do a single cost cutting into that. Because the ultimate motto is we should not be earning the profit from the employee's salary or the employee's welfare or the employee's well-being. So that has to be a motto. And it is a long-term scenario. It's not an overnight journey. एक रात में सब बदल जाएगा. But you really need to think, because there is a, when we put anything into the bank, we get the interest. And there is a simple interest, there is a compounding interest. So what type of interest you are looking for as part as your employee growth, employee talent is concerned? Are you only looking for the simplified interest? Then you should be considering as a cost center. But if you really would like to have a compounding performance out of your employees, you should be investing compoundingly as far as your learning and development of the employees are concerned. So that is a kind of a core difference between the kind of a mindset. And we really need to ask a question. There are certain models available, but to simplify those models, you should be asking two questions. Whatever challenges being prevailing within the organization, that what should be done and how it should be done. So what are actually the need of the employee and how you should be identifying those needs and how you are coping up with those needs. I'm not saying कि आपके लिए possible होगा 100% satisfaction देना अपने employees को. It's not possible at all. There's nothing like 100% within the organization as far as LNOD is concerned. But you really need to कि आप कितना close जा सकते हैं उस reality के, उस जो satisfactory level है अपने employees का, तो वो आप कितना invest करने के लिए ready है, and are you really be wanting that result out of, because there is a very famous law, there is a law of the vital few. There was a management guru called Joseph Duran, उन्होंने invent किया था. The law of the vital few is nothing but कि आपके जो 20% organization के employees है, 20% employees, they are contributing to the 80% growth of the organization. So while they are in training, they are in probation, they are in GETs, are you able to identify those 20%? And are you ready to invest more in comparison of other employees? Because I firmly believe that it should be 100% respect for everyone, but based on the performance, based on the contribution, loyalty, dignity, values, and the person putting their efforts into the organization, treatment would be different. So that is the kind of my take on that particular. Thank you.
Very nice. 80-20 रेशियो की आपने बात की. सर मेरा आपसे सवाल ये है कि ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का जो HR डिपार्टमेंट है उसकी वजह से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में एक कल्चर बनता है. तो ये कल्चर जो आपने अभी कहा कि लॉन्ग टर्म एसोसिएशन की बात की, लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रेनिंग की बातें की, तो ये एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कल्चर बनाने में ये लर्निंग डिपार्टमेंट, ट्रेनिंग डिपार्टमेंट का कितना महत्व पहुंच रहता है और वो आप कैसे?
See, culture is something that is the way the organization is moving around, and normally a difficult thing to define, but it identifies very well with any organization. You know कि अगर ये person particular behavior demonstrate कर रहा है तो ये इस organization से है, ये समझ में आ जाता है. Now जब हम बात करते हैं culture development की, तो क्वेश्चन ये होता है कि वो हमारी क्या वैल्यूज हैं जो हमारे कल्चर से आइडेंटिफाई हो रही, और उसमें हमको अगर कोई वैल्यूज प्लेस में नहीं है और डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ वैल्यूज को इंट्रोड्यूस करना है, तो वो पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू सिस्टम को डिफाइन करना पड़ता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, और वो वैल्यू सिस्टम को लेके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वाइड कॉन्स्टेंटली उस पर डिस्कशंस करके लोगों को एग्जाम्पल्स दिखा के और उस तरह से समझाया जा सकता है. ये एक ऐसी चीज है जो कॉन्स्टेंटली आपको सभी टीम मेंबर्स के साथ में डिस्कस करना पड़ेगा, चाहे बैचेस में, चाहे ग्रुप्स में, या जैसे भी करना चाहें. जो कल्चर आप प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं, कुछ चीजें होती हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में. ट्रांसपेरेंसी, मैं एक एग्जांपल ले रहा हूँ. ट्रांसपेरेंसी, आपके यहाँ पे आप जो भी प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं उसमें प्रॉब्लम आ गया. नाउ वेदर दैट पर्सन जिसने वो प्रॉब्लम नोटिस किया वो आपको बता रहा है या नहीं बता रहा है, दैट इज transparency. And whether you are providing that environment जिसमें कि वो आगे आके आपको ये बताए कि हाँ हमारे यहाँ हमारी ये प्रॉब्लम हो गई है. The moment you have promoted a culture जिसमें the person is getting punished because he has made a mistake, he will not be transparent. So that is something that is a value which you will have to develop. Trust. It is not something किसी को सिखा नहीं सकते आप trust. Trust develop होता है. It's a matter of conversation and the behavior that each one is exhibiting to other. Whether you are reciprocating that behavior. That is how trust starts getting built up. So these kind of values, trust or transparency or a team, that spirit of the team coming together and not individual, the team coming together and trying to achieve what is required, the team trying to work together in a selfless manner to bring that up. So are you developing that kind of environment? You can quote past live examples within the organization, because within the organization वाले जो examples हैं वो लोगों को बहुत जल्दी कनेक्ट करते हैं, उनको समझ में आता है कि हम किस चीज़ की बात करें. The moment you start giving examples of outside of the organization, it may not connect with the people very well. And when people see that organization is committed to developing these values and for what reason, then it becomes easier. Then it is not only those people who are being in the sessions, those people become your ambassadors, and those people go back and talk to other more people, and this way that environment develops. So we have had quite a few successes on culture this way. That is how we have been doing it.
सर आपने एक बहुत बढ़िया बात यहाँ पे कही कि एक ट्रांसपेरेंसी, ओपन कम्युनिकेशन बिटवीन मैनेजमेंट एंड, तो यहाँ पे ये जो ट्रांसपेरेंसी की हम बात करें, वो आपने ये भी कहा कि भाई पनिशमेंट एप्रिसिएशन, ये पैराडाइम शिफ्ट काफी हुआ है. अभी हमको ये कॉर्पोरेट में देखने को मिलता है, एमएसएमई में भी देखने को मिलता है कि एप्रिशिएटिव कल्चर जो डेवलप हो रहा है. मेरे एक क्लाइंट के वहां मैंने दो पंक्तियां, आपकी बात से ही वो बात मेरे ध्यान में आती है कि दो पंक्तियां मैंने, मैनेजमेंट अगर चाहती है कि भाई कंपनी ग्रो करे, तो कंपनी ग्रो कब करेगी? जैसे मैंने आपको सवाल किया कि आप 150 दिन बाहर रहते हैं, आपको एसआर के कहीं पे भी ट्रेनिंग देने के लिए या लेने के लिए जाना है, तो आपके लिए ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हमेशा तैयार रहती है. तो एक सवाल मेरा ये भी है कि भाई ये कमिटमेंट की बात आपने भी कही कि भाई कमिटमेंट किस हद तक, अगर कोई एम्प्लॉय है वो नुकसान नहीं करता है, क्योंकि ये आज के जमाने में अगर आप कुछ इनोवेट करने जाओगे, कुछ ग्रोथ के लिए आगे बढ़ोगे, तो सब मिस्टेक्स आर बाउंड टू हैपन. मैंने दो पंक्तियां पढ़ी और उसके बाद में मैं आपसे ये चाहूंगा, आपका जवाब चाहूंगा. आपकी हर गलती, ये मालिक, ये टॉप मैनेजमेंट ये कहता है, बोल्ड लेटर्स में लिखा हुआ है, आपकी हर गलतियां मैं बर्दाश्त करता हूं, आपकी हर गलतियां मैं बर्दाश्त करता हूं ताकि आपकी एक बेहतरीन उपलब्धि हमें मिले. So they appreciate mistakes like anything. वो तैयार हैं. तो इनके बारे में ये पैराडाइम शिफ्ट जो हुआ है, उनके बारे में हमें अवगत करें कि क्या क्या आपके यहाँ क्या हो रहा है. पहले जो था वो कल्चर कुछ और था, आज का कल्चर कुछ और है. आज के जो युवान है वो आपसे बात करते हैं कि मुझे मून लाइटिंग करना है, तो आप तीनों अलाउ करेंगे कि नहीं करेंगे. गिग इकोनॉमी जो आ रहा है, ये सारी बातों को आप कैसे देखते हैं? वो पैराडाइम शिफ्ट को आप हमारे सामने हमें एनलाइटन करें.
I will take one by one. You asked so many questions actually.
नहीं, अभी मैं नहीं करूंगा, अभी यहाँ से ये सवाल कर दिया अभी.
So we were talking about transparency and हम लोग किस हद तक जा सकते हैं उसकी गलती को एक्सेप्ट करें। क्वेश्चन ये है कि जब ये प्रोडक्ट, अगर वो गलती आइडेंटिफाई नहीं होती है और वो कस्टमर के पास जाएगा, तो हम लोगों ने कई केसेस में crores, 100 crores तक के नुकसान फेस किए हैं, और वो भी आफ्टर द प्रोडक्ट हैज बीन डिलीवर्ड टू सम अदर कंट्री। तो दो चीजें एक साथ हुई, एक तो मेरी ब्रांड इमेज गई, तो वो दोबारा मेरे पास नहीं आएगा, एंड दैट मच ऑफ मनी वी हैव लॉस्ट, एंड द रीवर्क नाउ दैट आई हैव टू डू। और अगर मैं रीवर्क नहीं करता हूं सपोज, तो लिटिगेशन जो मुझे फेस करना पड़ेगा, और वो लिटिगेशन कितने समय तक परसू करना पड़ेगा। नाउ इट इज ओनली बिकॉज कि अगर उसने वो चीज उस समय बता दी होती, because number of times what happens is, in spite of having all kind of tools that you have for quality assessment of the products, it does not get deducted. Mostly cases where welding has taken place in the first layer, and then after that the product has got covered, it is simply not visible. So ultimately आपने सब लेवल्स में क्लियर कर दिया, प्रोडक्ट चला गया, डिस्पैच हो गया। पहले तो यहाँ से दूसरी कंट्री जा रहा है, और उसके बाद में उसकी कॉस्ट, फिर वहाँ पे उनके पास में वो लोग इंस्टॉलेशन करा रहे हैं, आप ही जा रहे हैं इंस्टॉलेशन करने के लिए भी, और फिर उसके बाद में पता चल रहा है कि वहाँ पे मिस्टेक है। So that is the kind of effect that the organization will happen. So organizations have understood that it is, if we hide these things and if we punish our people, कोई बताएगा नहीं। तो ये जरूरी है कि हम ये बिहेवियर डिमॉन्स्ट्रेट करें। I will tell you a little bit differently now about businesses. So earlier हम लोग प्रॉफिट, लॉस और ये सब चीजें, इन सब चीजों पे फोकस करते थे, कस्टमर्स पे फोकस करते थे। लेकिन अभी ये क्लियर है कि इट इज ऑल अबाउट पीपल। इफ यू हैव टू मैनेज योर बिजनेस, you have to manage your people, and you have to manage them well. So this is very important first. Second, which also is very similar to the statement that Mr. Larsen has conveyed to the L&T organization. Buildings can be made, machines can be bought, you can have best of technologies to use, but it is the people that make difference, the people who run that machines, and that is what makes the organizations different. तो ये लोग जो हैं, इन पे हमको इन्वेस्ट करना ही पड़ेगा, और इन लोगों को ही मैनेज करना पड़ेगा, और ये विश्वास के साथ, ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ, टीम बना के, ट्रस्ट करते हुए इसको आगे ले जाना पड़ेगा। So this is what I think is very important at this point of time. मूनलाइटिंग के बारे में आपने पूछा, तो मूनलाइटिंग श्योरली हम लोग एनकरेज नहीं करेंगे, भले हम लोग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हैं, बट I think I will pass it on to Zubin and Nirav.
हम आपसे ये जानने के लिए बेताब हैं कि पिछले टिकेट तो ज्यादा समय भी हो सकता है कि इससे कम समय में हमने क्या अपने यहाँ क्या चेंजेस हमने किया है, हमने देखा है, और आप हमें क्या ये सुझाव देते हैं? मिस्टेक्स आर, so far as intentions are not bad or worse, the mistakes are genuine. People make mistakes, and if you want to grow, you need to allow people to
make mistakes.
Yeah, they can.
आपकी जो मिस्टेक वाली जो बात है,
वैसे एक बात तो मैंने आपसे ली, लेकिन पैराडाइम शिफ्ट की जो बात मैं करना चाहता हूँ कि भाई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड ने ये एचआर में क्या क्या बदलाव किए, क्या सोच में बदलाव हुआ है, क्या प्रैक्टिकली बदलाव आप लाए
इन टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेनिंग और इन टर्म्स
ऑफ लर्निंग? आपको भी तुम्हारा सवाल तैयार रखो भाई।
सो पहले जो उन्होंने कल्चर वाला जो पार्ट बोला था, एंड स्पेशली टॉक अबाउट द डिसिप्लिन पार्ट, थोड़ा उसके ऊपर मैं 2 मिनट के लिए ध्यान दे दूं आपको। हमारा ये मानना है, yes, mistakes are bound to happen. There is nothing that it is not going to happen. Even a junior person will make a mistake, that's it. but you will have to look at the intent of that mistake, whether it was lethargy or whether it was a situational problem. So that is very important. Your intent is important. Secondly, if I allow that lethargy also to continue, then I think you are building a wrong culture. You are sipping something which a good organization will never have. And therefore our organization and most of the organization might be having a consequence management. So how you will handle those issues? I did a mistake, but that was unintentional, so I need something which Zubin should undergo. My friend Dr. Nirav did something and his intent was lethargy, then there is a different way of handling that particular thing. So therefore, my request to my all colleagues here and friends here, अगर आपके पास ऐसा कुछ चल रहा है तो आप उसको lethargy term से लोगे तो you will have a problem. Now coming to the training part and what he was asking, that what you have changed in last couple of years. See, in fact, we had a major transformation also. My colleague Rajiv is here and he is also witness to that transformation. So in this transformation, we have changed many things in terms of training. Well, obviously, there were things which were going on for a couple of years, which we changed it differently. Then there are the training program which we define today, that is driven by the COE, what we call is a Center of Excellence. So it's a top-down approach. So they understand what we need to, we want at the site. They interact with our, you can say, the shop floor people through our L&D. Now, that is what you were asking, how L&D supports the culture building and all that, through L&D. So we take the stakeholders also with us. If you do not take the stakeholders आपके साथ, implementation becomes damn difficult. वो लेगा ही नहीं, he will not own it. वो HR का काम है, वो तुम्हारा काम. So that is how we are going in terms of designing the training program. Then obviously there are certain things which are of, you can say, where we would not like to involve, the faculties and all that. So we have gone online. There are many programs which are online. Yes, online again has a concern. A shop floor level guy who may not have a computer will have a problem. But then there is another way through which we manage. Thirdly, as a part of our performance appraisal also, these are changes which are, Dr. Nirav is my manager, we interact at the start of the year, we define certain training programs for myself and then we take it in my annual plan as an individual. डिपार्टमेंट की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मेरा जो प्लान बनता है परफॉर्मेंस प्लान, उसमें there will be some decision on which I will decide. So these things which we have done. Also then we have talent reviews. हमारा एक annual talent review process है. So annual talent review is that it is obviously done for some level of employees. But then there is a process. In that process also, we define certain trainings which an individual has to go. Now these are all basically leadership development programs. So we have some tie-up with IIM Bangalore also. We have other couple of training programs. Now again, I end this annual talent review part here. Then there are other training programs also which we have tie-up with some institutions, or it's a career accelerated program. Now these are basically, which I was saying, is a leadership development program. Few may get this opportunity based on, yes, again, you have to undergo complete evaluation process. It's not Dr. Nirav ne Zubin ko nominate kar diya or no. It is not Kaka Mama. It is purely your how you perform. So merits. It is completely merits. And again, that merits is driven by external party. There is no internal party. So उसमें भी आप कहीं पे एक सेकंड के लिए भी डाउट नहीं कर सकते कि यार ये जुबिन को लिया, उसको नहीं लिया, राजीव को लिया. There is nothing like internal work. It's all merits and then external. So these are some changes which we brought in last couple of years. Then, if I'm just trying to recollect, yes, then there were certain safety related trainings. So what we did, because we give a lot of emphasis on safety, my friend will also agree because there's a lot of issues on safety in all the manufacturing problem. sites. Whether I'm not talking about Reliance only, everywhere. So safety training has been given a lot of focus. So there are certain training programs which by design have to undergo by some mass of population on a yearly basis and some mass of population maybe on a 2-year basis or 3-year basis. So these are, yes, very essential to be done for all the, I mean, especially the organizations which are running the safety, manufacturing. इसके अलावा I don't remember major changes which we have missing. Digitalization is obviously that is one of the change which we did in terms of attendance, in terms of feedback, in terms of selecting the program. पहले हम वो Excel देखते थे, वो अभी Excel बंद हो गया. It is all purely, most of the things are you can say online. One more thing which we did in our organization, we have started celebrating some उसको हम spectrum बोलते हैं, but it's one type of training period, maybe over 10 days or 15 days. It's you can say it's a festival of trainings. So from even there are a couple of executive directors who also be part of that program. They come forward, they discuss on the developmental part which is broadcasted across Reliance. So, and there are many initiatives which sites take as a part of the spectrum celebrations. Then there are corporate driven initiatives. So there are certain themes which you decide on a yearly basis. This has started I think around 2015 or somewhere. That is how we started. So these are some celebrations which we do, but it is purely and purely focused towards L&D. There is nothing else in it. That's all that we did.
Thank you so much. नीरव भाई आपके लिए एक मेरा आखिरी सवाल नीरव भाई को फिर आपके लिए ना नीरव भाई SRK में गोइंग करता है ये कल्चर नो प्रश्न ये हमारी आपके सामने भी मैं रखूंगा कि भाई यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग की जब हम कॉर्पोरेट में बात करते हैं तो ट्रेनिंग जैसे कि भाई एक तो टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में ट्रेनिंग होती है, सॉफ्ट स्किल होती है, ट्रेनर द्वारा होती है, लेकिन मेरे जो ताल्लुकात पिछले 20 साल से रहे SRK के साथ, तो मुरारी बापू की कथा या रमेश भाई जी की कथा सप्ताह वो भी एक कल्चर डेवलपमेंट के लिए ये एक अलग एवेन्यू भी ये भी हो सकता है, स्पिरिचुअल ये भी एक हो सकता है. आपकी सोच या गोविंद काका की सोच मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कि ये कितना है, हाउ मच इट नीड असेसमेंट, वो आपने जो कहा कस्टमाइज की बात आपने की, यहाँ पे ये एक बहुत ही जनरल बात होती है. और जैसे कि आपने कहा कि जो एट्रिशन था आपका वो 18% से आपका 12% तक हो गया. मैं जानता हूँ कि अगर SRK में आपको जॉब लेनी है तो वो पीपल आर डाइड फॉर दैट. तो ये कल्चर जो डेवलप हुआ है और इनमें स्पिरिचुअल बातें और अलग अलग बातें हुई है, वो कैसे आप उसे कैसे देखते हैं? आपने माइक्रोफोन
SRK की मैं बात करूं तो इट्स अगेन आई मेंशन्ड it's coming from the top.
એક જમાનામાં ક્યાં આગળ કતારગામ વરાછાની વાત કરીએ, ડાયમંડ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીની વાત કરીએ તો લોકો ત્યાં આગળ જાણે છે કે માવો ખવાય જ અને કામ કરવું અને પ્રોડક્શન લાવવું હોય તો માવો ખાવો જ પડે. અને એક આખું કલ્ચર ગ્રીન બિલ્ડિંગ, અને ગ્રીન બિલ્ડિંગમાં એક પણ જણ માવો નહીં ખાતો એવા 6000 માણસો કામ કરે છે. તો એ કેવી રીતે શક્ય, આ બધું કેવી રીતે શક્ય બને? આ કલ્ચર તમે કેવી રીતે કરી શકો છો? અને એમાં લીડરની ભૂમિકા શું હોય છે?
As you rightly mentioned, Murad, and in the interest of the group, કે જે આ ટાઈપનું કલ્ચર છે, when you don't only think about your technical skills, you don't only think about your behaviors and soft skills, but you also talk about your spiritual skills. And Govind Kaka khud is like quite influenced from the lessons laid down in Bhagavad Gita, and on the same principles the company is running. So we generally feel that this is the best management book which anybody could have and to apply within their respective organization and their respective lives. Coming to the જે આપણે વાત કરી મૃણાલભાઈ કે કઈ રીતે આ સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ context આપણે લાવીએ છીએ. So we don't only, it's part of our formal performance management system. So it's so transparent. Transparency ની મનીષ જીને વાત બતાઈ. If I start my work in the morning, if I'm a worker, I'm starting my work in the morning, I have to feed my data when I'm starting my job. Once I'm through my work in the evening, I'll be getting the entire day summary in my system. I don't need to ask my manager, I don't need to ask my supervisor what I've done. The same thing happens on a monthly and quarterly basis, and we do annual reviews at the time of Diwali. So Diwali is our appraisal season, and we don't need to tell them that what you have done. So we do have a very simple philosophy. If you really want to earn more, then do more. Entire performance management system, what we saw at PLVI, performance linked variable incentive, in which of course 60 to 70% is the fixed component, 30% is the incentive, is linked directly, transparently to the respective employees. At the same time, I could also see my fellow what he is doing and what he is earning. It's purely transparent culture that has also been noted as a case study in IIM Ahmedabad, that how that transparency could be there into the PMS system. The second thing we will talk about, because we don't feel that the person is suppose 100% at the technical skills or the behavioral skills or the soft skills, but what if the person is not good at or not at par as far as the dignity, loyalty, trust factor is concerned? We can't tolerate. It's a zero tolerance policy on that. So to attain that threshold, spiritual binding. So we don't go by the religion or the respective caste factor and creed factor and all, but it has to be a spiritual mindset. So we do have a perfect blend of the technical skills as well as the spiritual context. We measure it through a in-house developed metrics, and at the same time it's part of the formal PMS system. And at the same time it's compulsory. We start our day by saying the prayer, and we end our day by saying the prayer. So that level of dignity, and I think Nirav will also touch upon that. We recently developed one management program in collaboration with the Deccan Education Society, more than 100-year-old society, and through our foundation, SRK Knowledge Foundation, the management principles from Bhagavad Gita. And the objective behind that program is to empower the community of the Surat, especially the MSME sector, and how they also do add value to their existing staff, employees, with the level of values, ethics, dignity and the loyalty factor. Because we truly believe that if you are lacking short on the technical skills, वो आप सिखा सकते हैं. But if you are falling short on the trust factor, the dignity factor, you won't be able to be, because it's all about upbringing. So how you are actually satisfying the level of curiosity of your employees. So are you really doing justice to it? Because हमें पता है कि we talk about rewards and recognition. We all want recognition. Vishal bhai ने मेरा intro दिया, I just would have not liked it, but at the back of my mind, I was happy because he did the elaborated kind of introduction to me. So at the unconscious mind, we always, as a human being, we want the recognition. So that's why I call rewards and recognition. So what we do in the monitoring or the non-monitoring aspect, but for our brain, it comes in the form of a hormone called dopamine. So if you are allowing your employees curiosity to get satisfied, the dopamine gets released inherently. And if you get released, it's an internal reward to the respective minds. So that's how, I won't go into detail in the interest of the time, but that's how we manage these things at SRK in this LNOD space. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now questions from Nishan bhai.
I just want to
તમારી સામે માઇક છે, એને ઓન કરીને બોલો.
Hello.
ટચ લખ્યું છે ને નીચે ત્યાં.
હા, ટચ.
હા પીડો.
Hello. I just want to add with the relevance of today's topic, which has gone excellent, and I'm happy because I'm part and parcel after my retirement. Today also I am in the learning process, as I am associated with this prestigious institution, and my concern is that the employee means everybody are covered. What I understand, what the dignitary spoke, and I have a track record and experience. Only training can lead to profitability. I have a case study, and if I am fortunate enough, then someday at some other time, I will really be happy to share my concern with this institution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. जी निशान में तुम्हारा प्रश्न.
So I want to add, and my question is right on my paper. When we talk about the culture and the learning part, I would quote Zappos here, where there are 10 commandments which they teach, and they go through 2 weeks of training, and if you are not joining, they give you a $2,000 of not joining bonus. The unfortunate thing is, like, I'm feeling pain to share this, that recently Microsoft Japan introduces a 4-hour work week in their company, and they found a growth. The question to me, sir, when I have to have any example of a learning culture or whatever you say, it's all going to US and Western and all. Why it is unfortunate that I am not having any Indian, and rather than my local example, where I can at least get to know that these are the things happening. Even I want to quote Amazon, which have a bad condition, working condition, which is being there in the media. So why it is unfortunate that I am not having enough examples or enough media or whatever it is where I come to know about my country, the organizations and culture. So at least I get inspired, and being even a startup or an MSME, I could learn and implement in my company. Why?
I'm still not clear with the last part of the question. I'm still not clear with the last part of your question.
Yeah, why am I not having enough Indian or local examples which I can see, learn and implement? All I will go to US, Uber maan thai hai, amount thai hai. Why I'm not having proper channel or so where I can learn from my organization? When sir saying that this many things we are doing, why? That's kind of unfortunate.
I don't have a straight answer, but then the fact is that either it's a connect which you need to establish with an organization, or it's a connect with maybe an L&D guy of such organization. So as such, nobody will go and broadcast in the market that this is what we are doing. Maybe the seminars, or as I said, it's a connect which can help you out. Otherwise, I honestly I don't have an answer. Nirav or Manish has an answer on this.
Okay, so we have a bad legacy in the country where most of our education is influenced by the books that are coming from overseas. And whenever we want some celebrity to come and speak to us, so it is not an Indian person, it is mostly a person who is coming from overseas. But that, yeah.
While I was talking, I do feel that.
Yeah, so it's there, that fully agree. But I won't say that the things are not changing. We recently represented in various forums, and we have been demonstrating it and achieving appreciation for that. So the question is now how you convert these learnings and they come into your academics. That is the thing. And otherwise you can look at various books, you can look at Business Today or Business India. You will find examples at the end, you will find case studies of Indian companies where they are basically talking about what are the changes they have brought about, and there are some case studies which will throw back to you how you would have managed that situation. So it is happening. Only thing is that yes, this has to convert into academics, it has to come over in the forefront. It will take time, it's a process which happens, it takes years. It is not something that happens overnight. For us, for that mindset change, from what we have been carrying over for years, the mindset change to bring the local education into place will take some time.
So, in agreement to this question which he asked, why only the companies from abroad are being, looked at, I think it is in our mindset, rightly said by Manish sir. Even in this forum that I've attended the session, or the CEOs or CHROs, they present the examples of the companies abroad and they try and imbibe the things from there. So what we think is ethics is only available outside. We talk about the countries outside, we try and imbibe. So I like SRK's thing and Gita ka Gyan and Apadhyay where everything is done.
Now, concluding to this and coming apart here, listening to all the panelists here, you people have been talking about the science of learning in an organization and the culture that is built in. You people have touched base on the growth mindset. You have spoken upon corporate to culture, sir, which is like an old thing, and even the local MBA colleges have come down to a placement cell and a trainer who are doing the bridging the gaps. Reliance has been talking about doing development center, assessing things. SRK has been talking about PMS to PLIs. The question here goes to the audience, whether MSME or an established corporate, the big B house who have a bigger budget but larger set of people, right? So if you look at the kind of the proportionates or analytics, it would go almost the same. It's how do you look at it. The question here goes is, with a growing mindset change that you're looking at, and you've been talking about the various aspects in HR, and you're also saying there are challenges that you're facing with the youngsters, and also I think Reliance did talk about that with the skill enhancement also the challenges come in, right? So the question here goes is, what are the matrices that you consider, or what are the steps you take in to bridge this gap and handling this mindset which is developing, having challenges, looking at growth in PMS, holding a position, how do you look at it? Similarly, also to it, I think can also address a question into HR when you say you have been identifying the training needs from the business and you have been trying to give them technical knowledge and soft skills training. But with the evolving industry, evolving environment, all the environments that are around, how does the organization go a step beyond looking at some speculations that come in forward and would take anything beyond your faith and you will be into a trouble? So what are the speculations, learning and development trainings, or the growth or the culture change you all three look at? So individually would like to hear all three of you, maybe in 2 lines, but yes. Thank you.
Whatever I gathered from Madam, I'll try to justify that thing. See, I'll just take 2 minutes in the interest of the time.
So elaborate question.
Yeah, only 2 minutes.
Question elaborative, touching ground, but answer in a one shot.
That's completely fine. So, Nirav talked about that manufacturing setup is a green building. So, there are many green buildings in India. If you go to the website of US Green Building Council, they are having more than 3 lakh buildings across 185 countries. They do have a presence. Almost 6 million square feet projects they have certified. So out of total 3 lakh buildings, if you go to the website of ArcScore, which is a real-time dashboard, you will find there are 2 entities from India. There are only 2 entities from India, which is there in the top 6 of the world out of 3 lakh buildings. And those 2 entities are SRK Empire and SRK House. So talking about bad building is a sin, but not talking about good building is a cardinal sin. What I see is that if you are, whether it's MSME, whether it's medium sector or a large sector, whatever you are having, whatever in whichever segment you are prevailing, just embrace it what you are having in your hands. So rather than, it should not be compared. We can't compare apple with an orange. So in respective genre or the respective sector, whatever the strength of the organization is at, so appreciate that strength and try to have a step-by-step intervention within those processes. And it's not an overnight journey, and it's required a humongous amount of time, investment, mindset, and the intention behind those kind of changing those like footsteps to a kind of a very noble one. And it's not an overnight journey as mentioned. So that's my take on it.
Just to add what he said, see the change, what you foresee is budgetary constraints?
I don't. I mean, there's a question in the forum which came in, like MSME has smaller budgets. Just, I'm listening to the way, the
so
bigger.
Earlier also you said, if we take it as an expense, there's a problem. Again I'm saying, it's not always a very costly training. You can always get a good training. That depends on how much you would like to spend. But the intent, again I'm saying, if we have that intent, कि हमको उसको अच्छी तरह से ट्रेन करना है, तो शायद आप इतना बजटरी कंस्ट्रेंट को जो सोच रही हो, वो शायद आपको नहीं दिखेगा. Budgets, अरे हमारा भी, let's be honest, we also don't have that lavish budget. We also have our own constraints. But then if there are 5 opportunities which are coming, out of 5 we may select 2 only, because of the budgetary constraint we have to select. So I think budgetary constraints are not only in your MSME, it is in a bigger organization also. So that's, what was the second question?
The second was like with evolving organization and the changes in the environment around. What is something, or like how do you do the forecasting of HR? I mean, the speculation that this could be an upcoming problem, like moonlighting. It came all of a sudden and people are talking about it. But people knew that they are doing the second job post-organization job. So this was already there. It reflected somewhere in there and performance also. But then why could an organization do? I'll add up to his question. Why did it come from outside? Not an Indian industry, not an MSME, not a small IT in HR board. So my question to you is nothing taking it on that ground, but I'm just trying to bridge the gap between how people think what MSME operates and how a corporate operates. That's it. Simple and plain.
So maybe going in terms of how you have the future consequences or how the organization might have able to operate in the future from the training aspect. Maybe certain inputs which we get at the shop floor level, also the inputs which we get at the time of interaction, and going forward, yes, as a strategy, there are certain COEs who drive the training. Where, like, we have different verticals. There are operation verticals, there are maintenance vertical, there are technological verticals. Those so-called COEs, they definitely give us a lot of inputs. But at the same time, we also give them inputs in terms of what is actually happening at the site and what we need to change in the future. That can also come sometimes, I don't know, but the exit interviews which are very vital for us as an audit. That also comes during the exit interview. So, I am going to that organization and they are into this. So I am getting into a complete new field. Especially, again, I'm coming back to the GT part. So these are the, even not only GT, but with an age group of around 30-35 also is now becoming more vulnerable in the way the market is open. So these are some areas where we get inputs.
Adding to what Zubin and Nirav just now mentioned. So your question was, how is it that, or what are the steps, how do we collect the voice of our people? That was your question. And there are many ways. One which is more prominently known is exit interviews. So you get a lot of information from there. You get information. We have introduced a tool which is an artificial intelligence machine learning tool which talks to people every 6 months, and it is very personalized. It goes by my name. The questions go to the person by my name, and they have to respond those questionnaires, and we have a 93% response rate on that. So that is the scenario. The person, whenever he has responded, next morning I have the feedback. And if it is alarming, I can just pick up the phone and tell the particular function or the business head that this is how it is looking. Now, subsequently, this data gets populated, and from various feedback sessions that we have with these kind of people, those who have been having grievances and things like that, so you get another output. Third output you get through coffee sessions with people. So now, when you are doing this multiple sessions, coffee sessions and the feedback from the tool and then the exit interview, you can very well build up what is going wrong in the organization. It is not that the people do not know what is going wrong in the organization. Even without these tools, people would know. But they don't agree to it up to the time it is thrown back on their face through presentations. So that is what provides the inputs to us, based on which then we work on what needs to be done and how we will have to ensure, because that you have already gone through this, you have already gone to the tip of the issue that is there in the organization. and that gives you an answer yourself that okay, what will work. So this is one of the things. You were talking about MSME organizations, how they will take on the training part. So basically I was trying to emphasize upon what is important for business. And I said that it is the people. Now this is something that you have to sell it to the superiors in the organization. That is how you will be able to bring that commitment for this particular effort. Then in the organization, you must have had people very experienced who would have retired from the organization. You can use them back to train the new generation. So that is another way that you can, and it will not be a costly alternative. The person may be happy to serve you further, and especially because he has been with you for so many years and he understands your organization very well, instead of bringing in somebody from outside. It will not be an expensive solution. So that is there. Like-minded industries could collaborate together and decide on doing programs together. So forums like SGCCI or maybe other such forums that we have. So in all those forums, if you can bring in the programs together and put the things, then it will not be very costly. The training need identification, which Zubin and Nirav both mentioned, which goes along with the performance management process. So if you are taking that in, you can even do the training need identification based on competency requirement. But again, when you look at competency requirement, then actually you will have to yourself make first effort to see that what are those competencies that you need. So these are exercises or interventions that you can run depending upon how you are equipped in your HR team and what is the time availability for you for doing all this. So that is because I understand that in MSME, when you talk about jargons, when you talk about things which are advanced in terms of working around HR, then it does not sell very easily. So that is there. You talked about moonlighting and you talked about gig working and all other things. So moonlighting necessarily did not come out from outside. It was very much in country. And it was the advantage that people took at the time of pandemic, where they had that scope to get into multiple employments. Why I do not support this? For a country like India, where people are unemployed, one person doing two jobs definitely does not help our society. So that is the social reason why it should be discouraged. Second reason is ethical. When you are issuing an appointment letter to a person, you are saying that he cannot do a double employment. And if he is doing a double employment, then he is violating the code of conduct of your organization. So then, in that case, that person is liable, punishable. Now, when you have that kind of a code of conduct already existing in your organization, then how come you can allow moonlight? And on gig working, there was an article that I published a couple of years back, and in that particular article I had very clearly said, yes, that is going to be there, but there are certain areas which cannot be moving into that segment. So you have to be careful on what you want to go through that particular exercise.
Thank you so very much. Brain training also.
I just said, there are issues of IP also, intellectual property.
Yes.
So therefore, what he is saying, it is not only, I mean, social is the biggest problem, which I 100% agree. But if I have to speak something, even today while I am speaking, I have to keep certain things in mind.
Yes.
So let's be honest. There are certain IP issues also. So if you are having two employments, then it's a big
conflicting.
because your interest can conflict.
Competitive interest.
I may be getting 100 rupees here, he may be paying 120 rupees. Whether I should take care of 120 or 100. So
You mean to say whether it's employment or the other way around, who is always a problem?
I think experience is
So now privilege to our chairman.
Thank you. सर मेरा टोटल 3 क्वेश्चन है। पहला है, अगर कोई भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई भी एम्प्लॉय बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहा है और सडनली अगर वो आके बोलता है कि भाई मुझे छोड़ना है, अगर पूछा जाए कि भाई क्यों, तो मोस्टली एक ही चीज होती है, इंक्रीमेंट का। अगर संस्था उसको एवरी ईयर 10%, 5%, 15% जो उनका अप्रेजल होता है उस हिसाब से दे ही रही है, और सडनली वो एम्प्लॉय आके बोले कि मेरी एक्स सैलरी है और मुझे एक्स प्लस 30% और 40% चाहिए, जो पॉसिबल नहीं है, तो क्या किया जाए? और जो हाई परफॉर्मेंस एम्प्लॉय है वही आके अगर बोलते हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी नहीं चाहती है कि इनको छोड़ा जाए, तो ये प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व किया जाए? मैं वन बाय वन मैं एक एक क्वेश्चन आपको
कोई भी है
कोई भी
all three are competent to answer any question.
डेफिनेटली कोई भी मैं भी वही करता हूँ।
Be really specific and like it won't take more than 1 minute. It also applies to the moonlighting, and I think I'm audible enough at the back. This also applies to the moonlighting. We talked about koi bhi employer. So sir also talked about the employer, the employment part. But at the same time, as an employer, it's also our moral responsibility that how we are addressing those issues. Like I just, some lines are coming in my mind that when we are saying the organization is growing or the individual growth is happening, but the test of our progress, whether it's the individual progress or the organization progress, the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, but it is, are we providing enough for those who have too little? So moonlighting का issue है या छोड़ के जाने की बात है, जो कंपनी कोई भी एम्प्लॉय छोड़ के जा रहा है, तो at the same time that reflection has to be there in the employee mindset, that are we paying them in the industry at par based on their particular skill set. I'm not saying to pay full irrespective of their lack in the skills and other like delusions in that particular competencies, but are we paying them enough? So exit interview के साथ जब कोई भी feedback देता है, so how you are taking those feedback and उनका real time action implementation होता है, like we do our management, we do say PDCA, plan, do, check and act. So are we really pondering upon their thoughts, that what the person is thinking while living the organization? So I think अगर उस पे ज़्यादा focus करें, we'll be having more insights, and there is no common answer to it, but हमें कुछ पल्स या कुछ insight मिल सकते हैं उसमें।
सर नीरव जी, ये एक बात आपके सवाल के साथ में कहूँगा कि अगर एक व्यक्ति ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को छोड़ना चाहता है, तो वो रीजन तो कुछ भी देता है, सैलरी का भी देता है, बढ़िया अपॉर्चुनिटी कहीं और मिलने वाली है, ये देता है, लेकिन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को वो व्यक्ति की जरूरत है, वो भी तभी पता चलती है जब वो मन बना लेता है। तो ड्यूरिंग हिज जर्नी, ड्यूरिंग हिज प्रोसेस ऑफ वर्किंग विद एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, कुड बी रिकॉग्नाइज हिज टैलेंट, कुड बी हमने थपथपाया है कि यू डिड अ गुड जॉब, तो कहीं पे ये भी होता है कि ऐसा हो सकता है आप एक्टिंग इंटरव्यू तीनों बार बार बोले हैं, लेकिन मैं एक्टिंग इंटरव्यू के एम्पर की इंटरव्यू मैं एक्टिंग इंटरव्यू के एम्पर की इंटरव्यू मानता हूँ, क्योंकि अभी कुछ होने वाला नहीं है, चलो जहाँ जा रहे हो वहाँ आपका कैरियर अच्छा बने, वो एम्पर की इंटरव्यू जा रहा है, ये मेरी कुछ गलत हो सकती है, लेकिन ये हो रहा है एमएसएमई में खास करके जो सरकार हो रहा है।
देखिए पैसा हर एक डिमांड में रहता है, लेकिन there are many other factors also why the person is exiting the organization. पैसा is, but then एक चीज आप सोचो कि वो ट्रिगर कहां से आया, वो ट्रिगर आने के बहुत सारे रीजन होते हैं, मतलब अभी आप उसके ऊपर मैं थीसिस लिख सकते हैं, ऐसा है ऊपर हम मोटा मोटा बोल सकते हैं कि भाई एक तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कल्चर इससे उसमें कैसे है, मतलब आर द एम्प्लॉय बीइंग ट्रीटेड वेल और आर द एम्प्लॉय नॉट बीइंग ट्रीटेड वेल। आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल।
जब तक मेरी गरज थी तब तक मैं आपकी हर बातों को सहन कर रहा था, आपसे मेरा रिस्पेक्ट रखता।
Today I am not resigning, I am a full-fledged employee, but during my course of employment, how I am treated is also very important. I am a human being, you can't ill-treat me. I cannot openly speak, but then you abuse a person openly, that also is a bad thing. You abuse a person openly, maybe MSA ये सब में होता होगा, मोटे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में होता होगा, पर वो छोटे रूम में हो जाता है, खत्म हो जाता है, आपके मतलब एमएसए में हो सकता है, पब्लिकली हो सकता है, आप so firstly it's a culture which is there in the organization. दूसरा क्या है कि डेवलपमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज। अगर आपको उसको लगे कि मैं इधर मैनेजर हूँ, मैनेजर में ही रहने वाला हूँ, सड़ने वाला हूँ, तो मतलब दैट इज अगेन अ प्रॉब्लम। आई अंडरस्टैंड देयर विल बी अ लिमिटेशन ऑफ ग्रोथ आल्सो विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट ठीक है आप उसको
मेरे 12 रूम्स है और मेरे 24 रूम्स होंगे, उससे ज्यादा होगा नहीं, तो मेरा एक मास्टर का 2 मास्टर बनेगा, तो 3 लोग खड़े हैं कि मेरे को भी मास्टर बनना है, मेरे को भी मास्टर बनना है, तो वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का ग्रोथ नहीं हो रहा, तो उसका कैसे ग्रोथ होगा? वो इश्यू ये अभी हम सब्जेक्ट में मतलब ये कुछ जो पेन पॉइंट जो है ना, वो आपके सामने अभी आ रहे हैं।
तो सोसाइटल स्टेटस उसके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट रहता है, चाहे आप उसको आज मैनेजर बनाओ, हो सकता है यू मे थिंक ऑफ मेकिंग हिम अ सीनियर मैनेजर। इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ जस्ट गिविंग अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ राइज, बट देन यू विल हैव टू थिंक, बिकॉज़ वो जाके आपकी वाइफ को बोल सकते हैं कि आज मेरा प्रमोशन हो गया, मैं सीनियर मैनेजर हो गया। We also do this in the big organizations, so we may not, there are certain things which we are talking, we change the role. The role is a promotion, we didn't organize a role, we change the designation. So ultimately somewhere some motivation factor has to be there, नहीं तो फिर वो 100% वो recognition मिलना चाहिए।
सवाल में हमारे हम सब यहाँ लीडर ही बैठे हैं, सबके पास 5, 10, 50 लोग हमारे पास भी हैं। क्या हमने कभी during the journey of particular person, how many times we asked him, are you happy here? What you expect? आपसे भी मैं पूछूंगा कि भाई आपको ट्रेनिंग करनी है, आपने वो ट्रेनर के साथ आपने जो कस्टमाइजेशन करना था, आपने जो नीड असेसमेंट करना था, वो आपकी तरफ से आपने किया है, लेकिन कोई कैंडिडेट आके हमको कहता है कि मेरी ये चाह है, मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ, वो होता है कॉर्पोरेट में होता होगा, लेकिन यहाँ पे एमएसएमई में ये होता है, ये बात को हमको सबके सामने
दूसरा आपको
नहीं होता है।
आपका विद इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन यू हैव टू डिफरेंशिएट अ पर्सन बेस्ड ऑन हिज परफॉर्मेंस आल्सो। आपको कहते हैं ना गधा घोड़ा बदलने जो तुम एक काटने हाथों, तो ये भी एक प्रॉब्लम है। सो इफ आई एम अ गधा, तो आप मेरे को गधे के हिसाब से इंक्रीमेंट करो। माय फ्रेंड नीरव इज अ घोड़ा, तो आप नीरज को इसके हिसाब से दो।
लेकिन गधे को कौन बताएगा कि तू गधा है?
That is where your HR comes in the play. That is where the HR comes into the play. So you will have to differentiate the performing guy and the non-performing. दूसरा बहुत सारे
ये पॉइंट पे भी मैं आपको बार-बार लेकिन ये पॉइंट पे भी तू गधा है, वो जब वो उनको आप नौकरी से या तो निकाल रहे हो या उससे में बना लिया है, तब जाके होता है। तो क्वार्टरली जो हम उनके साथ जो बातें करते रहते हैं, तब हमने कहा है कि भाई तू गधा से भी खच्चर हुआ है या तो गधा का तो यू आर इन ए जर्नी ऑफ घोड़ा, बट यू आर नॉट स्टिल।
देयरफॉर इसलिए बोलते हैं कि जो परफॉर्मेंस डायलॉग होता है, इट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोसेस फॉर एनी पीएमएस।
सर ये आपके लिए हो रहा है। हेलो, मैं आपके सवाल के जवाब में मैं लड़ रहा हूँ।
So there are many factors. आप सोचो तो even infrastructure. If I am giving you a shit washroom, somewhere it will trigger me.
Absolutely.
I think I will continue to Manish like.
ना बीजा सवाल अभी जो नहीं, उनके लिए दूसरा सवाल होगा।
सर अगर सर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बहुत सालों से है, अगर आज की तारीख में पर्सन ए आता है एज अ मैनेजर, वो काम कर रहा है, अच्छा काम कर रहा है, 5 साल के बाद पर्सन बी आता है सेम मैनेजर लेवल पे, और वो भी अच्छा काम कर रहा है, वो एक ही डिपार्टमेंट में है, पर ऐसा होता है कि जो पर्सन बी है वो बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस कर रहा है, धीरे धीरे वो आगे निकल जाता है और वो सीनियर मैनेजर बन जाता है। तब पर्सन ए को ये प्रॉब्लम होता है कि भाई वो जो बी है उसकी बातें नहीं मानता, क्योंकि वो भी ऊपर है और जो पहले वाला था वो भी नीचे है। तो प्रॉब्लम ये हो रहा है कि वो बातें नहीं मान रहे हैं और कभी भी कंफ्लिक्ट हो रहा है, काम आगे नहीं बढ़ रहा है। तो उस सिचुएशन में क्या किया जाए? हम मनाते भी है, बुलाते भी है, बातें भी करते हैं, उसके बावजूद भी अगर रिजल्ट नहीं मिलता है, देन व्हाट वी हैव टू डू?
ये सही पेन पॉइंट्स हैं, ये सारे अभी आ रहे हैं।
It's all right, understood. Yes. And that happens also, that's all right. And your person A है, who is uncomfortable with person B who has already grown. So वो person A आपको कितना important है, that is the question. You may have to do a tough talk with that person. And ये सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में ही ये इस तरह का हम लोग कल्चर डिमॉन्स्ट्रेट कर रहे हैं। इफ that culture is existing in the organization in other areas also, then the chances are that person A will accept it more easily. If it is only one of the case and बाकी cases में ऐसा नहीं होता है, तो then उसका feeling clear होगा कि मुझे exploit किया जा रहा है. That is it. If you are encouraging performance and growing people with that, then वो visible होता है. फिर similarly अगर person A पीछे रह गया है और उसको वो growth नहीं मिली है, तो उसको समझ में आ जाएगा कि performance level point of view से वो मेरे से supersede कर रहा है, इसलिए उसको position मिली है, and mostly he will reconcile. Or if it is too much beyond his capacity to reconcile with that, he will leave and go. So that is there. That is going to happen.
हेलो. अरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या होता है कि एक सब सेट होता है, टाइमिंग ये है, यहाँ पे आना है, ये काम करना है वगैरह वगैरह. मान लो 100 लोगों का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और अगर टॉप मैनेजमेंट ने ऐसे डिसाइड किया कि जैसे टाइमिंग है 10 to 6 है, उसको चेंज करके हम 9 to 5 रखते हैं. ड्यूरेशन विल बी सेम, जस्ट टाइम चेंज कर रहे हैं. 100 out of 100 में से 90-95 पीपल आर रेडी, देयर इज नो इश्यू. पर 5-10 लोगों को तकलीफ होती है और ये 5-10 लोग बाकी 90 लोगों को ऐसा कन्विंस कर लेते कि नहीं हमें टाइमिंग चेंज पे जाना ही नहीं है और हल्ला बुलाते हैं. तो क्या कर सकते हैं उसको?
We almost had the same problem when we offer the PF on the voluntary side in 2016. I am talking about entire management. I should not be naming anyone, but they were having the perception that nobody wants to go into the PF and the voluntary. Voluntary means irrespective of their salary, whether they are earning less than 15,000, at that time it was 7,500, but less than 15,000 as of now is mandatory, and for rest of them it's voluntary. So management also thinking that nobody wants to go into the PF. Then we did a pulse survey in a manner that one should be giving their respective feedback, or it was a kind of a confidential information कि आपने ऑनलाइन हमने करवाया वो सर्वे, नाम नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है, जस्ट नीड टू फीड दैट. हमको पता है कि हमने किसको भेजा है. इफ आई एम फाइलिंग माय फीडबैक, देन एज एन एचआर गाय आई शुड बी एबल टू नो कि वो किसने भेजा है, बट उनको पता नहीं है. सो वी ट्राई टू मेंटेन दैट ट्रांसपेरेंसी और थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंशियल रखने की भी ट्राई किया. एंड देन फाइनली इट केम कि 97% ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयज वर रेडी टू गो फॉर द वॉलंटरी पीएफ स्कीम. So this is a kind of a mechanism, was one of the tool I am just referring to. You should be getting a pulse survey kind of a thing to get the feedback, pulse, vibes of the employees कि क्या हो रहा है. और फिर जाके कोई चेंज भी नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि उसने ही भरा है, क्योंकि हमारे पास तो डेटा है कि आपने अपने नाम से ये फीडबैक इस टाइम पे इस तारीख को भरा है. तो देन जो 10 लोग हैं जो बाकी के 90 को थोड़ा ड्राइव करने की कोशिश करें, फिर नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि उसको भी पता है कि वो एक बार रजिस्टर हो चुका है. आई एम जस्ट गिविंग वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल, काफी और भी टूल्स हैं, बट ऐसे ही प्रैक्टिसेस आप कर सकते हैं व्हेन यू आर ड्राइविंग एनी न्यू चेंज, बिकॉज आप कुछ भी ड्राइव नया करेंगे इट विल लीड टू अ रेजिस्टेंस. इट्स अ ह्यूमन नेचर.
पूरा इको वाला पॉइंट भी होता है, तो कुछ लोगों को पर्सनल अटेंशन चाहिए तो उनका काउंसलिंग अलग से भी.
तो वो आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, हम भी हमारे पास भी काफी इश्यूज होते हैं, मैनेजमेंट ऑफ चेंज का करना है. हम नॉर्मली यही करते हैं कि वी अपफ्रंट फर्स्ट गो एंड प्रेजेंट इट इन द प्लांट टू ब्रिंग ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन द सिस्टम. बट यू हैव टू बी वेरी सॉलिड. व्हाई यू वांट टू डू इज वेरी सॉलिड. फिर वो मेरा पर्सनल रीजन है, मैं सेफ हूं और मेरे को 9 से 5 अच्छा लगता है, तो भी आप उसको ऐसे ढाल दो कि मेरे को 9 से 5 क्यों है. सो फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी गो टू द शॉप फ्लोर, वी एक्सप्लेन why we are bringing this change, and what you are saying, if your 90% of the strength is okay with it, you will definitely get a lot of support in the plan. Now coming to that 10%, this 10% has any issue, let them speak out in that forum only. आप बताओ, हाँ अभी बोलो किसको प्रॉब्लम है, सो प्रॉब्लम है, बताओ. केम नहीं था।
और हर बार मैनेजमेंट को ही थोड़ा करना है, मुझे प्रॉब्लम है 9 से 5 में, तो बिपिन भाई को ये काम सौंप दो। बिपिन भाई मृणाल भाई का अच्छा फ्रेंड है।
दूसरा वो मतलब these are all of you, then none of it मतलब in another way that those who are like mischief monger like this, तो आपके जो इन्फ्लुएंसिंग आर्मी है जो 90% में से, उसको बोलो उससे बात करें, वो बात करेंगे। और ये अगर फाइनली नहीं होता है तो फिर आपके पास ये आपके एचआर के पास बोला, सो मतलब these are the ways we can handle the situation। आपका 10 to 90 रेशियो होता तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता, पर आपका 90 to 10 है तो आई थिंक इट इज वेरी वेल मैनेज्ड। वी आल्सो दैट्स वी ब्रिंग चेंजेस। हर चेंजेस में मेरे फ्रेंड बोलते हैं, नीरव ने बोला प्रॉब्लम आती है, वो झट लगता है उनको, क्योंकि हर एक में उनका फायदा नहीं दिखता है, और आदमी नॉर्मल इंटेंशन ये है मेरा फायदा क्या है, तो मैं देखता हूँ मेरा फायदा इसमें नहीं है, तो मेरा रिएक्शन हमेशा नेगेटिव है।
जुबिन सर, यहाँ पे ये एक मेरा यहाँ पे भी है कि ये जो बातें एमएसएमई की हो रही है ना, वो लालाजी कल्चर कुछ न कुछ हद तक तो है ही, और ये प्रेसिडेंट सेंट्रिक है या तो ऑनर सेंट्रिक है, उसमें क्या हम कई बार बैठे बैठे देखते हैं कि वो क्या रहा है। तो समटाइम जैसे मैंने अभी कहा कि आस्क राइट पर्सन टू काउंसिल और राइट पर्सन टू मैनेज। एचआर इज नॉट एवरीबॉडीज कप ऑफ टी, बट व्हेन यू हैव पीपल हु कैन डील इट वेल, व्हाई वी आर नॉट एंगेजिंग देम? हमारे पास होने के बाद मैं बार बार कहता हूं कि there are 4 kinds of people in the world. They do not know and they also do not know that they do not know. तो जो जानता है they do not know, but they know that they do not know. Why I do not ask बिपिन भाई कि बिपिन भाई ये प्रॉब्लम है, आप उसको हैंडल करो, और मैं जानता हूँ कि ये बिपिन भाई इसके लिए क्वालिफाइड है, then also I am not engaging him. तो वो प्रॉब्लम के लिए भी हमको ये समझना है कि एमएसएमई का जो प्रॉब्लम है, मैं यहाँ पे कुछ सवाल आए उनके लिए भी मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि भाई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए जो छोटी छोटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जहाँ पे 10-15 लोग है या 24 लोग है या 12 लोग है, उनको सॉफ्ट स्किल ट्रेनिंग करनी है या उनको टेक्निकल ट्रेनिंग करनी है, तो ये वाराणसी में ट्रेनिंग हो रही है, टेक्सटाइल ट्रेनिंग हो रही है। वो आप अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए करोगे तो उसमें जितना खर्चा होगा उससे बहुत कम खर्च में चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स कर ही रहा है। हर साल में कम से कम 40 से 50 ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं सॉफ्ट स्किल के, एचआर की आज ये तीसरा है, तो ये होता है। लेकिन हमारा भी उत्तरदायित्व बनता है कि हम भी आगे आए। सर, ये एसआर के फाउंडेशन ने जो अभी प्रोग्राम किया, जो अभी हमने बात किया, तो वो प्रोग्राम में ओपन प्रोग्राम था, आपको कुछ ज्यादा खर्च नहीं करना था, लेकिन बहुत ही कम लोग आए, और वो भी ज्यादा से ज्यादा फैमिली क्या है। तो हमारा हम अगर कुछ चाहते हैं तो हमारी तरफ से हम आगे कितना बढ़ते हैं वो भी एक बात है। वो भी आज का अगर हम बात को ऐसे ही करो तो ये भी हमको समझना है कि मेरा कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है, मैं ऑनरशिप कितनी ले रहा हूँ। अगर मैं गलत हूं तो सर, बाकी तो वैसे हम अपनी जगह पे रहते हैं, साउथ गुजरात में रहते हैं जहाँ यूनियन पार्टी बिल्कुल नहीं है, वो बहुत दुखी है हम लोग। अब वन लाइन
यूनियन नहीं होने से आप हुकूमत करोगे
वो भी गलत नहीं, म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट में, जो ट्रस्ट की बात, कल्चर की बात, सब ये तो अलार्म बजता रहता है सर। जब कोरोना में हमने देखा कि ट्रेन भर के वर्कर्स चले गए, तो वो क्या था, वो एचआर का ही है ना, वो टीम किसका है, वो चले गए और लाने के लिए, लेकिन किसने एंगेज किया, एचआर को एंगेज किसने किया, ये मेरा सवाल है सर। ये सवाल मेरा सवाल नहीं है। When you have resourceful people, talented people, those who can serve for an organization, we are not engaged. आपने कभी इंटरव्यू के लिए उनको बुलाया? 1 लाख की सैलरी का बंदा अगर आप रखना चाहते हो तो आपके पास है ऐसे लोग जो इंटरव्यू कर सकते हैं। मैं नीरव भाई के लिए मेरी बात नहीं वन लाइनर फ्रॉम ऑल 3 स्पीकर, वन लाइनर। आज का हम समापन करें, सभापति का इंटरव्यू था, अब वन लाइनर फ्रॉम आज का जो हम विजडम टेक अवे यहाँ से लेके बहुत सारा ले जा रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी 1 लाइनर या 2 लाइनर में आखिरी मैसेज आपकी तरफ से।
Yeah, so you were talking about कि हम लोगों के पास अपने HRs होते हैं, उनको ही हम recognize नहीं करते हैं और बाहर से लोगों को बुलाते हैं उसके लिए. तो अभी आप एग्जाम्पल दे रहे थे.
हम किसी को नहीं बुलाते हैं. ये आपको बुलाते हैं, आपको हम किसी को नहीं बुलाते हैं. हम वो मैंने कहा कि भाई हमारी ऑनर सेंट्रिक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो जाती है MSME में. उसकी वजह से हमको ही लगता है कि ये मैं ही डील कर सकता हूँ और मेरे अलावा मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए कौन डील करेगा. उसकी वजह से आपको तो हमने आप ही तो बुलाया है. सुबिन सर को वो तो हम मानते ही हैं.
Okay, so another statement just now you were making about hiring people and talents. So just would say that if you offer peanuts, you will get monkeys only.
Just to conclude what my friend Ronald Bhai said, if you invest in HR, you will definitely get result. But if you don't invest in HR, then I am sure you will continue to work in the Lala company, which most of the MSCs are facing. It will take some time for you to accept. मैं 75,000 का आदमी रखूं, हाँ रखो, हाँ हो सकता है you may not perform, you may not do jana gana mana for him, but then if he is definitely going to perform, I am telling you, you will build up a very good culture, which is currently in many of the SMEs. आप कहीं पे भी जाओ ये आपका कल्चर रहेगा. बट अभी छोटी छोटी कंपनीज भी काफी चेंज हुई. मेरा भी एक फ्रेंड है, ही इज इन सम सॉर्ट ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एंड ही वाज टेलिंग मी जुबिन हो सो करो तो आई टोल्ड हिम ये करो तो मतलब ही हैज एग्रीड. तो मतलब दैट स्टेज हैज कम. सो आई दिस इज माय स्टेज.
સુબિન સર એમાં કેટલાક લોકો એવું સમજાય છે લાલા જી કન્સેપ્ટમાં પરસેપ્શનમાં કે ભાઈ અમારે તો લીડરને ટોપ લેવલ પર ટ્રેનિંગની કાંઈ જરૂર નથી. માણસ અનુભવી છે. એટલે હું
ટ્રેનિંગની જરૂર બધાને જ છે.
એટલે એ લેવલ પર તમે
એ મિથ કાઢી નાખવું પડશે કે ટ્રેનિંગની જરૂર નથી. ટ્રેનિંગની જરૂર બધાને જ છે. I think many of you might be knowing one of our great leaders which we had in Reliance. My name is the police secretary. એમનું સ્ટેટમેન્ટ એવું હતું when he was director कि मैं आज सीख रहा हूँ आपसे. Now that humble he was. At the age of, he passed away in 87, when he was active till I think 80 to 83. He was managing the site and he used to say, मैं आपसे सीख रहा हूँ. Now this is his statement. So there is nothing like that. There is no, there is an age of मैं सेठ हूँ मैं नहीं सीखूंगा. If an executive director of Reliance say कि मैं आपसे सीख रहा हूँ, so I think we all should feel that हम सबको सीखने की जरूरत है.
I had one question.
I think one liner લઈ
અને
કેટલાક સવાલો છે મને ખબર છે કે અહીંયાથી બધું પતી જશે ને પછી ત્યાં આપણે લેખક પાસે પણ કરવાના છીએ. એમને વાતો કરવા તો
Yeah, please.
So, just to conclude, whether it's employer, whether it's MSME, SME, large sector, सबके लिए एक ही चीज एप्लीकेबल है. I would just say 2 lines. बुले गुलशन में इख्तिलाते रंग बू से बात बनती है. बुले गुलशन is like the gardens. इख्तिलाते रंगे बू means these flowers, the various kinds of flowers. बुले गुलशन में इख्तिलाते रंग बू से बात बनती है. अभी हम हैं तो क्या हम हैं, तुम ही तुम हो तो क्या हो.
सर आपने मुझे भी अपना उसके ही नाटक किया. मेरी तरफ से नहीं, ये निदा फासली की तरफ से, लेकिन ये HR के लिए बहुत ही अप्रोप्रिएट है. हर आदमी में होते हैं 10-20 आदमी. हम टैलेंट की बात करते हैं. हर आदमी, हम मल्टी टैलेंटेड की बात करते हैं. हर आदमी में होते हैं 10-20 आदमी. जिसको भी देखना हो कई बार देखना. मैं सवाल करना चाहता अरे તમે સજેશન નથી આપતા ને સવાલ જ કરો.
We heard a lot of things about learning and training. As a trainer, what my experience is all about, training is and learning is more about a one way we share the concepts. I was curious to know what mechanism do corporate, as in your company, follows? Because the end of any training or learning program is whether the person has transformed or not. So what is the mechanism? Is there any mechanism in place wherein we address that, how the person has transformed in that personal capacity? Because the transformation is the most challenging part and the difficult part to practice. After learning the concept, how do we ensure the practice of the same?
See, from our organization point of view, definitely people say training effectiveness. But yes, it's a difficult thing to manage when you have such a big crowd. I am sure you agree. Training effectiveness measurement is a problem. So, yes, we do practice it, but for a smaller group, not for all. Let's be very honest. Secondly, what we have going is that once I undergo a training, mainly it's a program. It's a program identified for maybe a 50 or 100. Then we give them certain assignments. After we give them some assignments, we engage them into some sort of this sort of a work, whereby what he has learned, it comes out. So this is one way of trying to know how effective the guy is. Secondly, one of the things which we have started, I would not like to name, otherwise it will unnecessarily go in the market, but then we have started is that he trains me, I get trained, coincidentally we both are paid something. I get paid because I am trained, he gets paid because he has trained me. And now my next promotion is linked to this, and I have already completed my assessment also. So he trained me, my assessment is done for that new role, and once that assessment is done, I become eligible for a promotion. So my effectiveness is definitely measured when my assessment is done in that particular, though I am not given the role. I am, say इनकी भाषा में मैनेजर हूँ, और ये मेरे को सीनियर मैनेजर को रोल के लिए ट्रेन कर रहे हैं, मैं ट्रेन हो चुका हूँ, मेरे को उसके लिए कुछ रिवॉर्ड भी मिल चुका है, उनको भी रिवॉर्ड मिल चुका है, पर अभी तक मेरे को सीनियर मैनेजर बनाया नहीं. It is a matter of time when the vacancy comes or when we have an opportunity, he will make me senior manager. So that is the way we are right now operating it. And as I said, we give assignments to the people based on the training. There are certain things which are, obviously you cannot say, but it is completely visible, especially on the safety front. Because today I am a new joinee. If I am thaka hua or मैंने training लिया है, and if I don't exhibit, it is immediately seen. Another thing which we have is a level of training. What we call is L1, L2, L3, L4. Now, one is something related to safety, 2 is again something related to that area, 3 is related to that plant, and 4 is related specific to that job which I am going to perform. So that training, if I clear that training, then only I am supposed to do that job. Otherwise I am not supposed to do that job. And another, like, it is, you can say, a training, but yeah, once I am performing a role of a field executive, which I have come today in the organization. I have to complete my assessment, competency assessment. Once I complete my competency assessment, then only I am given the charge of field executive. So the training which I got comes out in my assessment, and if that assessment I have not cleared, I am not given charge. When the assessment is cleared, I am given the charge. This is what we have.
Yeah, so I don't believe that the person will transform immediately after the training, number one. Number two, if 10% of the people, those who have attended your training, they are transforming, then that's an achievement for you. That is second. For transformation, actually, you have to work on a person long enough. So you have to derive initiatives and ways and means how to take that forward. Training effectiveness, Zubin has said, is absolutely correct. Training effectiveness is something that you do as a process, but surely it does not ensure that, yeah, what you try to do with the person, that person has changed. Now, what training actually provides is an input to a person. What fields are available to him, and it enlightens him on areas which he can decide which one he wants to explore. And if he is not exploring himself, then he will not change. So it is dependent on the person, not on the trainer, to actually get the person changed. The concept of development centers that we normally have, what do? They actually tell you that what are the competencies that the person is lacking in, and what are the competencies out of that which are important for his development or the next role. And the person decides along with his superior that these are the competencies that I want to work upon, and for working upon this, how much training he needs, how much mentoring he needs, or what coaching he needs, or whether he needs a on-the-job training. So all those decisions are taken between the individual and the superior. And based on that, HR has to support that. So if that is being done, you will have the transformation. So it is actually a mixed bag. It is not just one tool that provides you a solution. Training is one of the best tools, yes, but training enlightens people more. And then based on that, how they want to move, that's a decision the person has to take.
So with this, as a moderator, I thank Mr. Zubin, Todiwala, Mr. Manish, Gour, and Dr. Nirav Mandir for having such a wonderful interaction. Manish, normally we conclude our program before 8 o'clock. So many questions are not coming to our analysts, but it has been wonderful interaction, I tell you, and very knowledge enriching. So we give a round of applause for all these.
Thank you very much for a wonderful moderating done by Shri Mrunal Shukla. So now it is a time for the showstopper, which is known as a vote of thanks. So today's showstopper is Mr. Sanjay Patel.
So Mrunal Bhai has already actually thanked the panelists. Actually, science of learning, what I see, it is very difficult to disintegrate the entire HR functional. We have discussed the entire, if we see the entire discussion, each and every function is being discussed. Its culture, compensation, hiring, everything is cut, So the 2 hours, I think, entire HR management has been discussed in this program. So it was wonderful actually. For me, it was a lot of learning, bridging a gap between the MSME and corporates. How we can learn from the corporates and put it into the MSME practices. So it was wonderful thing, and I also thank all the audience for participating very actively, staff of SGCCI and all HR, this organizing team, HR training and committee. Paresh Taylor, he himself actually came and very curiously listening entire show. Salvai for your MOC. So I think everyone who participated very actively. Thank you.